They're going to be exiting the tournament.
Yeah, he's going out quite quickly.
As a Claymore goes down.
This is possibly the biggest upset we've ever had in the tournament.
Particularly good trade.
Starting to go down now, but too little, too late.
The Sleipnir is MJTing himself out of the arena.
Yeah, as the Hugin goes down.
He just got volleyed through that.
They're just ripping them to shreds right now.
Starfleet is down.
Here you will find the bedraggled, good-for-nothing masses of Capsuleers, all vying for a chance to be taken seriously. Here you will find organizations that couldn't rub together more ISK than your average faction warfare corporation. You will find pilots who, when faced with adversity and true challenge, will likely turn and run faster than the big blue donut. You will find the hordes of F1 button-mashing pilots whose idea of PvP is nothing but being a minion who worships false gods they call their leaders. Not to mention those who don't feel comfortable unless they're in the biggest ships surrounded by 1,000 of their friends. Groups that think they're actually good at combat, yet howl around in packs. They only pick on the weak, oppressed, and vulnerable. Which piece of trash would bubble to the top of this steaming cauldron of mediocrity? This is the Alliance Tournament
Open Practice.
Welcome to the AT Open Series Weekend 2. I am Black Bart Pirate, joined by several extremely intelligent, high-speed, amazing commentator individuals such as Satonia, DTM, and that's about it so far, though we have some more people coming in. We have 8 super awesome teams coming in today. So thanks to the success of last weekend, they decided that we were going to make it totally garbage by having me host as opposed to Ithaca. Sorry about that. Anyone looking for the beautiful dulcet tones of his Scottish voice are going to have to look elsewhere. Let's see, Satonia, how excited are you for today?
I'm pretty excited, man. There's some pretty good games coming up that I'm really happy to watch.
Yeah, we like last weekend, we should have somewhere between 8 to 11 matches, depending on how our finals go. We have most of our teams are a bit different this time. We have Center for Advanced Studies, the Network, Prismatic Legion, Forsaken Empire, Platinum Sensitivity, Dark Side, Test Alliance, Please Ignore, and the team that we're not going to say their entire name for, but I believe it is Turbofeed or Glory today. So we will be starting off with the Center for Advanced Studies versus the Network pretty quickly here. And do we have any predictions for these guys?
And this one's tough. The Network has a bit of a sordid history in the Alliance tournament, at least from the Nor Academy, the Nor kind of side, right? Where they, I think they've entered into like 5 Alliance tournaments, and 4 of them they went 0-2. But there's a lot of the people from the thermodynamics team, the barcode team, with the nanocurrency guys. I'm not sure how involved those are, but if they're part of the team, then they could definitely be very strong. Castabouts, of course, or the Center of Advanced Studies is like the Castabouts team, and even though they're not the best, and unfortunately they did go out in the feeders, they have taken part in a lot of ATs, and they normally do okay. So. It's a hard one to pick. I'll probably go with Castabouts, but I think the Network. I think this is a pretty even match.
Awesome. And like last weekend, we did have bans done a little bit differently from the traditional tournament setup, where we pretty much picked 3 ships. Every team got a kind of vote, and we took the ones that most teams wanted the most. So bans this week are Loki, Bargist, Curses, and Jackdaws. So I think once again we will not be seeing any pancake ships. DTM, what are you thinking about this? I think this is were you here last weekend or no?
No, I was not here last weekend. I think it's going to be a very interesting day filled with lots of action, and that's what I'm here for. I'm here for the action.
Awesome. I think we are all here for the action. And I think we're going to be having a couple other guests joining us throughout the day, but I am being told that there might be a little bit of delay. I don't know what this error issue means because I have no idea what I'm doing. So that's pretty cool. But the teams have actually shown up on grid. So not sure what our status is or if we're going to be moving on in here shortly.
Yeah, I mean, we could talk a little bit about the bans, right? Because the bans are a little bit different this time around. Each team was able to choose 1 ban each, but in a blind ban. So there could be anywhere from 1 to 8 bans. And this today, the bans are going to be the same for every match. It's going to be Loki, Jackdaw, Barghest, and the Curse.
And I think what's interesting about that is we gave each team one band and removed duplicate bands. So there are 8 teams, and of all of them, they banned basically the same things. So I guess people are really not wanting to see Vargas, which is kind of unfortunate. I want to see some flag, or I want to see some flattle ships running around blowing things up.
We will be ready to start in just a moment here.
I think it's worth noting too that the Loki ban seems to be really strong because it's really been helping out other comps like the Slept comp and other sort of control damage comps. It's definitely, I think, one of the strongest bans in this sort of round of AT.
It definitely has been shown to be quite strong. I think it's, maybe a little stronger than people were expecting. So I think that it really does fill a lot of niches here, which makes it very powerful in several different setups. We are having a little bit of technical difficulties, so we're kind of sorting that out real quick here. But I'm not sure if we want to talk about what the teams have on grid yet, since we have an opportunity, or not. They are sitting here patiently waiting for us, and probably trying to figure out exactly what strategy they're going to use to start off here. All right, so it does look like we're starting. It's going to look a little bit different potentially than normal as we sort our technical difficulties here, but I think we're going to do, let's see, Satonia and DTM. I think you guys are going to just warm up by casting off this first one, and it'll be super duper fun and exciting with castabouts going up against whoever these guys are. I totally forgot already. Very professional. The network, that's it. Yes, the storied network.
All right, I'm joined here by DTM for the first game of the Alliance Opens. Castabouts are here. They brought two rattlesnakes. We haven't actually seen them before, I don't think, because they cost 25 points. Nighthawk, Bifrost, 2 Suples, 3 Scalpels. Is there a problem here? Oh, I have the other team log. Sorry, there's like some weird thing with the UI.
Yeah. Also with the Hyena and a Manticore on grid. Network bringing 3 Nighthawks, 2 Broadswords, 2 Scalpels, 3 Spiples, and we can see right now that Network is just diving into the Rattlesnakes, getting control on them. Meanwhile, lots of webs and damage going onto the Nighthawk of Chad. Chad, are you going to be a Chad and be able to tank, or do you think he's going to go down Satonia?
It's looking pretty bad for him. It looks like he's definitely going to go down before Nags Altar's Rattlesnake here.
Yep, already going into that low. We're seeing the armor bleed right now as the Nighthawk continues to try to get boosted up by the Scalpels. A little bit of damage getting switched onto the frigates of the Castaways comp. Trying to get some of that control off grid, but I think they're going to lose a Nighthawk for no trades.
Yeah, they are putting quite a bit of pressure on this Manticore and the Hyena, so they might be able to get rid of the webs or the TPs that the Hyena is bringing to like take out the Rattlesnake application. It looks like the Manticore of Ivory is about to go down. There he goes. So they have cleared some DPS, but trading a Nighthawk for a Manticore is not a good trade. Although Nazy's Rattlesnake is about to enter armor here.
Yeah, Naz's Rattlesnake entering armor. Meanwhile, we're seeing the Nighthawk of Avix take a ton of damage, already getting through half of his shields. The Scalpel's just not able to keep up with the absolutely insane DPS that Rattlesnakes do.
Yeah, there's a bit of a fight in the backlines too. Primus Fortune, Supel just goes down there. It looks like they were diving onto Deadlock Scalpel to get rid of those reps. Try and break through that Rattlesnake faster, but the Supel is gone, and Deadlock seems to be okay right now, holding about half shields, and Ovix Nighthawk is getting really, really low. Nags Altar Rattlesnake also about to enter structure.
We're seeing it boost up just a little bit more. Meanwhile, the Rattlesnake going into Hull right now. He's going to have to try and figure out a way to mitigate some of this DPS, but he's in one of those big, slow battleship hulls, which isn't going to help him at all. Meanwhile, this Nighthawk just does not seem to want to die. A Scalpel going down on Team Castaway. The Nighthawk going into half hull right now. It's a DPS race to the bottom. Ryan going down and a Nighthawk going down. A double boom for Castaways.
Yeah, and it looks like Nax Alto's Rattlesnake is actually recovering shield right now, even though one of the Seeples is now gone. It looks like the DPS on him is stopped. Maybe he got a reload on his XSP or something.
Yeah, and that Rattlesnake still somehow managed to stay alive, while Team Advanced Studies is just going through and eliminating the Sviples one by one, working on these Nighthawks slowly, more damage going down on the grid. That Hyena has done a ton of really, really good work so far this match, keeping itself alive, even though the 3 Sviples, which are pretty fast, were not able to get on top of it, doing a good job screening. That Rattlesnake's still alive in half hull. What a champion. Yeah,
it looks like the DPS is coming off him again. Akbad's Nighthawk's in a lot of trouble, so is Ironhawk's Seapool. I think we're going to get a double kill. Here we are, another double kill for the Center of Advanced Studies side. It looks like it's firmly in their hands now. We just have 2 broadswords left for DPS.
2 broadswords left for DPS is not a lot of DPS whatsoever to manage to do anything with. We are coming down to a little bit of the wire here, as it looks like we're about to see the Scalpels start to get worked on a little bit. Meanwhile, the Rattlesnake's still up. I don't even think they have the DPS to break it anymore. Look at these Scalpels taking damage as well. Advanced Studies doing plenty of damage and actually doing really well, keeping their Scalpels alive, keeping the Hyena alive, as well as keeping these Rattlesnakes alive. There goes another Scalpel.
Yeah, the logistics from the Center of Advanced Studies side was so good. They kept that Manticore alive for a long time. You know, they caught a lot of like the Hyenas and Seeples. They just did like such a good job with the Scalpel Logi rep, and it seems like they made the right calls when it comes to where to put the reps when under pressure.
It's always really interesting to watch these BC comps into comps that have like flagship battleships and how they interact with each other. A lot of it's dependent sort of on the weapon systems that the Rattlesnakes are bringing to bear on these cruiser hulls and battle cruiser hulls.
Yeah, last brawl sort of Sebastian about to go down here pretty soon. What a great match, man! That was really fun to watch.
Yeah, it was really good screening from Team Advanced Studies. Network trying to get in there and do damage, just not being able to execute.
Pew 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 pew. Pew pew pew.
So the plan is that we execute a star formation with perfect 90-degree angles. You need to heat 2 cycles, not 3, 2. Spipple's web, but the Spipple's web. And we need do we need missiles or is that Spipple's? And we need thermal drone.
HiSec Buyback offers 90% JITA anywhere in HiSec. Simply go to hisec.evebuyback.com, appraise your items, create a contract, and get paid quickly.
And we are back with Team Castabouts beating the network 100 points to 8. I think that was a pretty interesting starting match. It was I was a little worried just to see a shield rush right off the bat, but it does look like the Epitomus command ship shield rush may have actually been defeated. Satonia, do you think that it was because of the Castabouts being a better team, or did they maybe figure out a way to just totally counter them?
I don't think it was necessarily like the perfect counter. I think Castabouts just like maybe had like slightly better target calling at the start. It seemed pretty weird. Like I think in terms of like a DPS trade there, I think castbouts are always going to win. I think for the network to win, right, they need to like go into the back lines, kill the bomber, kill the scalpels, and kill the supers, since they had like a stronger like backline, right?
Yep, definitely true. And DTM. So, what do you think about the Torp rattlesnakes, which castabouts decided to bring?
I think the Torp rattlesnakes are always going to perform well into sort of like BCs. The question is what kind of balance to cruisers are you going to bring, and how are you going to apply control? Network had to dive in there right at the beginning, and what we saw very quickly was those rattlesnakes up front trying to get locks as fast as possible, screening people, as well as I think it's really important to mention, with a hyena on grid, the application of the torps is a lot higher on almost everything on grid, and that would have been a primary for me if I was an FC to try and get my Sviples onto that, try to get my small things onto that, so that they can actually eliminate some of that control off grid, making it a little harder for those rattlesnakes to apply.
Yeah, it was definitely cool. I think I have a feeling that, so we've now done the feeders. We've done one sort of weekend of open practices. Do you think we're going to be seeing a lot of people kind of testing out ways of beating the shield rush? Is that maybe what this weekend's going to be about, is people testing out their kind of tournament anti-shield rush setups, considering how strong they seem to be in the last few things?
Yeah, I mean the opens is a great place to test out setups, because you get the same kind of rules that you get in the AT. You get to practice against teams that you wouldn't be scrimming against naturally, so you get a bit more variety. And yeah, it'd be interesting to see. I think we saw like mostly shield setups in the previous Lance Open. It would be cool to see a lot more like armor teams, like Vindicator kind of teams, or like the Damnation setup we saw from Bright Side of Death in the feeder rounds that eliminated brave newbies from the Alliance tournament. I would like to see like a lot more like armor control setups.
Yeah, I'd like to see more armor control as well. I'm curious to see what ends up happening as we kind of progress through the tournament. I think a big question that's still on the table is exactly how effective Barghists are. We saw Barghists go into Golems earlier against Test and somebody else, and we did see the Barghists fail, and seeing as there are clearly ways that Barghists lose, how much of a issue they're going to become over maybe like looking at a Sleipnir ban or something like that.
Yeah, one thing that actually surprised me really a lot actually is how often the Barghest is banned. Like, yeah, they're strong, but I would think like if I was a team and I thought that I was really good, I would just practice the Barghest mirror match and just say, okay, well, sure, you can bring Barghest, I'll bring Barghest, and I'll just beat you at Barghest because we're just a better team. So it was like surprising to see them banned in like almost. I think they were banned in every single match except for 4, and then out of 2 of the games that they were not banned, like people actually brought them.
Well, unfortunately, we will not be seeing any Barghists this weekend because at least one of the teams, if not more, said that they really did not want to fight them. So we will not be seeing any Barghists this weekend, which is kind of unfortunate. Like, I do want to actually see some Barghist mirrors because you can really see who's the better pilot. But since we won't be seeing them, looking at the bans, what do you expect to see besides, obviously, the Epitomous Shield Rush, which is still relatively unbanned as Nighthawks and Sleipnirs are both around?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think we're still going to see Shield Rush. Like, there's 2 components removed from it, right? Generally, the Jackdaw, which is something that we've been seeing quite a bit more than the Supel recently, because it has that a little more utility, and you can also go LML on them too. And we've also seen the Loki play a vital part in the Nighthawk comp, with the not being able to bring long range webs, but also bringing decent DPS alongside it. But there's still like a ton of options available to Shield Rush. Like almost every like ship that's like key and crucial can be subbed out for something, right? Like you can sub Nighthawks out for Sleipnirs, you can sub Jackdaws out for Supels. Lokis can be subbed out for broadswords, Tengus, whatever.
That is definitely true. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're fine. I'd love to see more outside of the box stuff. I know this is gonna sound really bad, but I'd love to just see some pure rush comps, some stuff like Hecates with, I don't know, some Thoraxes, some Dominic's Navy issues, just something to just really get on top as fast as possible and eliminate like some of the DPS and kind of see how that would work. Of course, that's going to be a fast match, and those kind of matches are always tend to be pretty rough to win. You know, have very high chances of winning with a comp like that. But the more that people just sort of approach the edge of what's different. Like I think we saw in the feeder rounds, we saw what was it? It was Boom Headshot Sleipnirs, was it?
Yeah,
That was
Exodus brought that.
Yeah. Yeah, big props to AP for actually bringing that one. That was a really interesting. I didn't get to cast that one, but you betcha I was sitting in my seat screaming at the top of my lungs with my mic muted.
Yeah, I am sort of on definitely on the side of wanting to see something besides Shield Rush every single time. I would love to see. I mean, we just basically saw the classic Shield Rush. I hate to say it's classic because it's, you know, but it has been a very strong comp in the last couple tournaments, even if they weren't necessarily CCP official alliance tournaments. But it was kind of nice to see them just get dumpstered by rattlesnakes with torpedoes. So, you know, that's always a good sign. But yeah, I'd love to see some control comps. I'd love to see some kiting stuff. Maybe like you said, DTM, a fun and exciting rush of some kind that isn't shields. Like, you know, maybe not necessarily Domi navies because they're the worst ship in the game besides Nightmares. But that would be that's a possibility.
I mean, that's very true. I think I kind of like openly admitted it's a pretty bad comp. I'm wicked curious what you guys think about the Scorp Navy issue versus the Rattlesnake as flagship battleships. How do you guys feel about those two ships, sort of looking at them, balancing them as far as like which one would you prefer to have in a situation?
Oh, the Rattlesnake is obviously, I think, stronger on paper, but it costs 4 more points than the Scorpion Navy issue. And I don't know if it necessarily is worth the extra 4 points, especially when you're bringing multiple copies. It really adds up. Like, the extra 8 points from the rest of your setup disappearing is pretty brutal.
Yeah, I pretty much I don't like rattlesnakes. I know we just saw them do really well, but I think they did well because of how they had Torp rattlesnakes at 0 with heavy drones against Nighthawks, which Nighthawks are weird, and I'm sure Twitch chat is going to say something super positive about what I'm about to say, but Nighthawks are actually not that tanky. So, you know, and just for the purpose, I think when DTM was saying flagship, he meant like as your maybe your kingpin ship, not necessarily as a flagship. There are no flagships for this specific day, regardless. Just for Twitch chat's sake, we got to make sure that we're here to engage with them, because there's nothing I like better than engaging with Twitch chat. It's literally why I'm here.
So I think another interesting topic to sort of talk about and bring up is, so we've seen a ton of rattlesnakes. We've seen how the Bargist applies, and we know sort of about the Loki bands. We talked about the Scorpion Navy issue, things like that. But I'm really curious about what you guys think about these smaller ships. How are you feeling right now about Sveipel versus Jackdaw, as far as being sort of the go-to T3D that people are using?
Well, I think the Jackdaw has a few advantages over the Super. The first, obviously, is the fact that it has like more utility when it comes to it can swap damage a lot faster than the Super can. Super's locked into that 10-second reload, where the Jackdaw has 2.5 seconds, so it can swap like damage to the primary targets. Like when you're going after like a team that has like Scalpels and Nighthawks, for example, right? Like being able to swap from like kinetic when you're shooting the Scalpels to EM really fast means that you can like constantly put out damage. It has the 5th mid slot, and it also isn't necessarily locked into ACs as the Super is, since you can load rocket launchers on it. But the Jackdaw also, in the defensive mode, it has that signature radius reduction bonus. So that means it's actually very difficult to apply damage to, or it's more difficult to actually apply damage to them with hams when it's in defensive mode. And the fact that its resist profile has more kinetic resistances also makes it a little stronger against Nighthawks too, I think. So I think that's why we've kind of seen people transition over to Jackdaws.
Yeah, with the short range ammo buffs that happened, I'm not gonna say recently, but fairly recently, it actually made rocket jackdaws a lot scarier than they used to be, which is kind of crazy to think. You know, back in the day, it's like, oh, rocket jackdaws, what's wrong with you? You're crazy. But now, they do. I think you get like 500 or 600 DPS out of them, and like you said, I mean, you can switch your rockets in it's like what 2.5 seconds or something like that. Like you're like, oh, I need a different damage type. Okay, that's not a problem. Whereas a lot of other ships, reload speeds matter in the Alliance tournament. It's super weird to think about it, but even like 10 seconds of lost DPS when you're rushing something down, that can be the difference between you losing a trade.
Oh yeah, man! I'm excited. Sorry, I'm just excited because I'm seeing the ships land on the field.
I was going to say you can't do that. You can't tickle them. But no, it's this is actually looking pretty cool too. And at the end of the day, regardless of how Jackdaw versus Fipple is, we won't be seeing any Jackdaws today because apparently, at least one team thought that they were so good that they were worth banning. So that's always fun. But we are having the teams start to land right now. We have something totally different than what we saw last time, which is really nice. And this is going to be Prismatic Legion versus Forsaken Empire, which is pretty cool. And I think we're looking to get it started in about the next minute or two here. So obviously we can cheat a little bit. We do see what's on field, but off the top of your head, looking at these two teams, who do you think is going to win? We'll cheat. It's fun. We'll just be crazy here.
Ooh, I really hope. I really hope a certain team wins.
A certain team wins? Nice, dude. That's kind of... I'm actually sort of in the same boat looking at this. I think this is a very, very even match, which is awesome. DTM, without giving anything away too much, because I think we're going to be swapping over in like about 30 seconds or so here. Which side are you looking at?
I hope the red team wins.
Heck yeah. See, there you go.
Red team, you're boring, DTM. You got to go with the blue team, I think, for this one.
Look, man, I have issues with their strategies, both politically and in based on the kind of ships they brought.
All right, well, we're going to swap it over to the spectator real quick so you guys can actually talk about what they have without being too cheeky here. So we're going to be taking a look at the match in just a second here.
Yeah, so Forsaken Empire are absolute chads, and they've brought 3 Abaddons and 3 Oracles, so they have DPS for days, and I really want to see them just annihilate the other team.
Yeah, and then talking about the other team here, I think it's important to sort of mention as far as this goes that Prismatic Legion has brought double Leshaks, double Deacons, and as well as some Vexor Navy issues, which is one of my favorite cruisers in the game. And I'm hoping we get to see 2 armor comps brawl it out. It's been a while since I've seen that. I'm hoping it goes well right now. We're seeing the Punishers and Vengeances dive in, trying to get tackle on different people from Prismatic Legion. Looks like the Punishers diving onto the Leshak, or just got slowed down trying to get to the Deacons.
It looks like they're putting everything on Zeph, Elikan's Leshak. Anna Clavian's Oracle looks like that's in trouble right now. It has been tackled down by those Punishers and the Vengeance.
Yeah, it's also worth noting that the team of Forsaken Empire has brought 2 different Lodges, and the Oracle's about to go down right now. The Leshak is going into low armor. Meanwhile, Inquisitor's taking damage in the backline because it's gotten tackled down a bit. Looks like it stopped taking as much damage. Getting to work on another Oracle. I think we're going to see another Leshak of Zeph go down here in just a moment.
Oh, it's gone, man. Oh, this is going to be a really close match, I think. So the blue team, Forsaken Empire, they're about to lose their Logi, they're about to lose the second Oracle here, but they have already taken down one of the Leshaks, which is like a linchpin ship in this setup.
Yeah, we're seeing that Punisher from Forsaken Empire actually keep a lot of damage onto Leshak. Meanwhile, the Deacons from Prismatic Legion are trying to rep him and keep him up, but it just doesn't look like it's working. Meanwhile, the Oracle on the other side taking a ton of damage. Man, it's going to be a DPS race to the bottom. I feel sorry for this Leshak as it is just surrounded by Abaddons, taking a ton of damage. Another Oracle does go down, but it's not going to be enough to save this Leshak.
Yeah, those shutting gusts. The Shack is gone, so now we just have a Sacrilege and 2 Vex and Eevee's issues really for DPS. A lot of the support is going down here on the Forsaken Empire team. I think they're about to lose the Vengeance, about to lose the Deacon here. So it's just going to be 3 Abaddons and an Oracle with no support versus 1 VNI, a Sacrilege, and the rest of their support wing.
If I'm those VNIs, I do not want to be there where I'm at in the middle of the Abaddon cluster. I want to be off the Abaddons. I want to be able to get speed. I want to be able to orbit and use my drones for DPS, but they are way too close. We're saying JC in the VNI, taking damage, regretting some of his life decisions for getting too close to the Abaddons. Hail to the great despoiler himself. I just feel sorry. If they were farther away, they would have a huge chance to win just through the fact that they have no Logi left on grid, and they'd be able to get their speeds up, and those lasers would not be able to track as well.
Yeah, the Abaddons are doing like the piloting from the Forsaken Empire side is really good, where they're all kind of going off into like slightly different directions. So that way, like, you can only keep traversal on one of them. Like, you know, obviously the VNI is small and it's faster than the Abaddons, so it can. Looks like we lost the Oracle now, but it is just like a Sacrilege and a Magus for DPS versus 3 Abaddons. So I'm not sure if they're going to be able to kill the Forsaken Empire Abaddons before the timer, and that Sacrilege is going down so fast.
The sack got a little too close to the sun. It's starting to burn up through the power of pulse lasers. I believe that's what they have on there. Lots of damage going down onto him right now. He is getting reps up, but, you know, we already kind of talked about it. 3 Abaddons is a lot of DPS. These guys clearly know how to sort of navigate away, even though 2 of them are burning in. It looks like the sack just gained a little bit of speed. It is orbiting tight. It is getting some armor up. It's possible they could outlast them. It is worth mentioning, though, right now that without those Abaddons down, Prismatic Legion does not have a point lead, so they have to kill Abaddons in order to win.
Yeah, they have to be able to kill I think 2 Abaddons to win, assuming they don't lose anything else, which is you know, going to be very tough, I think, when you just have a Magus and a Sacrilege for DPS. Looks like that Sacrilege is stabilizing, though. Seems a bit weird. Looks like we have a bit of a target swap here going on to Teacher's Magus.
Yeah, the Magus taking a lot of damage. That's another target down even farther in the barrel that Prismatic Legion has to climb out of in order to get back ahead here. And while, like you said, the sack has stabilized, they're in a situation right now where they have to kill 2 Abaddons. 2 fully tanked Abaddons is a lot of EHP to dig through.
the Sacrilege is no longer stabilized. He's gone.
Oh, geez. Now just sitting there with 2 Vengeances, 2 Deacons. They're in a pretty rough spot here. This is going to, I mean, this is going to be hard to crawl back from. There's not very many chances for them to do anything. I mean, I don't even think 2 Vengeances can break one of the Abaddons in time.
Yeah, they have 5 minutes left, but I mean, 2 Vengeances are not going to, like, maybe they can kill Windjackal. Oh, damn.
Oh, there's a huge alpha.
Chunked.
Oh, it's a big alpha, and he is going into hull. I didn't think that. I mean, I guess grapples, man. Grapples are the way to go, especially when you have 2 Abaddons a little bit away, so that they have even less transversal than Wind, who's in the damaged Abaddon right now. Now reps do land on him, but like if he catches another big volley like that, he's gonna be in trouble.
Yeah, he used his ADC there too, so he no longer has ADC. He's getting chunked to his gun.
There he goes, down again. Another explosion.
And yeah, the Abaddons are doing a really good play where they kind of like separate themselves into like a little triangle, so that way they can't keep traversal on all of the Abaddons. If the Abaddons are all in like a group together, the figures could just like orbit at like 1,000 meters or something, and like mitigate all of the DPS. But because all of the Abaddons have like split up into like a little triangle, like 10k away from each other, you can't really keep like traversal up to all of them.
That's really difficult to do. Definitely excellent pilot coming out from Forsaken Empire. Good showing. Definitely good showing. Even now, that the Abaddon of Windjackal is barely, 30% armor, 15% armor, and they just don't have any DPS to do anything here.
It looks like Annalie Boger's, I can't say these names, is about to go down in his Deacon here.
Yeah, Squishy in chat brings up actually a really good point. I guess they should Abaddon all hope. I'm done.
Puns are the lowest form of humor.
Well, speaking of low, Annie is low ho and he's gone.
I think he killed DTM, which is unfortunate because that means I'm gonna have to talk more. I hate you so much right now.
I'm okay. I crawled back into my chair. I fell out of it. I was lucky enough. I slipped the mute mic button just as I fell over in my chair. It is now official, though. Forsaken have won. The 3 Abaddons standing strong. Some of them look like they're activating their micro jumps, trying to sacrifice themselves to the edge of the arena.
And we are back with the second match being concluded, where we saw a triple Abaddon, triple Oracle setup just completely stomp the yard all over a bunch of Leshaks. I guess stomp the yard's not entirely accurate because everything died but the 3 Abaddons, but when 3 Abaddons is 60% of your ship's points, that's a pretty good setup. Satonia, what do you feel about that?
Man, I love that comp. That's also the comp that NSH brought against NC Dot, right? And we saw like a Sleipnir get killed like pretty quickly, but then NC were able to recover. I just love seeing that like mega DPS comp. They're like 3 attack battle cruisers at 10 points each. Are so cool.
Yeah, it's a lot of damage. If you think about it, even if you do full tank oracles, I think they still do close to 800 DPS, like unheated. So, it's still kind of a rush if you think about it. But yeah, they got 6 large gun ships there. It's a pretty good amount of DPS, and we saw that those Leshaks just couldn't tank through it. And I don't know, I would say Leshaks are pretty sturdy ships, right?
Yeah, they were tanked. That one of the first attack that they went for actually tanked for quite a while. I believe that probably the Abaddons were still getting into like conflagration range, but and it looked like he stabilized for a little bit, but eventually he went down. Then they went through the second Leshak, and then like some of the VNIs just like got I think the first VNI just got wrecked.
Yeah, they were blaster VNIs, by the way, which is interesting. I'm not sure. I know that VNIs have been changed a bit recently. Back in the day, you used to see them as a very, very powerful drone ship, where they aren't quite at the same level anymore, but they're still pretty cool. It's interesting seeing these kind of, I don't want to really say off meta, but I would say a blaster VNI is an off meta ship, and how would you think they would perform? I mean, obviously we saw them lose, but I don't think that was the reason there, right?
I don't think VNIs are that terrible in this tournament. They seem okay as kind of like kind of in the sacrilege role, but not as good as a sacrilege. But they're a lot cheaper. I think they're like 3 or 4 points cheaper, right? Where you just hold a big ship down. The VNI is actually pretty quick. Has a decent sig. It's got a decent amount of mids and lows. It's kind of tanky. And it has like drones. It has decent utility, so it's just kind of cool as like a big screening ship sort of thing that also brings like 600 DPS.
And DTM is the day of the Leshak past? Is it now the day of the Abaddon? You seem very excited about it.
I'm hailing this open as the Abaddon's spoilers open. Okay.
Okay, see, now if you
what-
say that, we're gonna get copyright claimed by GW, so you gotta be careful. They'll shut us down.
They'll shut it. They're coming.
They're
No way.
gonna shut us down.
They're not just gonna shut us down. They're gonna shut down CCP. Guys, be careful. Don't say it. Don't let anybody know what the name of the ship is.
Yeah, like really though, like how do you think the performance of that was? Like maybe do you think that, you know, like what about the other teams? They brought two Leshaks. What if they had maybe done like an Abaddon setup or?
I felt like those Leshaks just died. I mean, thinking back to it, 3 Oracles, 3 Abaddons is a lot of DPS on grid. Maybe it just wasn't the kind of comp that you really get to kind of see the Leshaks shine against. But I guess that does beg a serious question about the viability of Leshaks in general. We haven't seen them perform too well over the course of this tournament. Maybe the time of the Leshak has passed, and that's just kind of something that teams are going to have to work around and deal with. I'm sure they are already spending a ton of time theory crafting, looking at this. Still, there's some teams trying to bring Leshaks. Maybe it's just not going to work out at the end of the day, though.
Yeah, it is a 25-point ship, which is quite a bit. So just bringing those two, we used up half their points, but we are going to move on and talk about the next setup, which is Platinum Sensitivity versus Dark Side. And I believe we actually have channel point voting up, which is pretty much the only reason why all of us are here, is to lose all of our channel points and be really, really sad. So that's really exciting. I think that Twitch chat is saying that... why is this not working? Help.
Dark Side are 72%, Platinum Sensitivity at 28% right now.
Excellent.
Twitch chat.
Perfect. Mine's popping up and trying to tell me to spend all my channel points, and I'm not doing that until they give me skins. So, at even T skins ? Yeah. So I think a little bit about these teams. Dark Side is, I think they're kind of a reformation of a couple different Russian groups. I believe that a lot of their members are old Gorgon players, Gorgon Empire. If anyone knows who they are, I don't know if they're still together anymore. Whereas Platinum Sensitivity is I think they're a Japanese alliance, correct?
Yeah, they're an alliance that has a lot of Japanese PvPers on their team. Mark Bridges is the team captain. He's someone who was in Growing Clade, so he's definitely a really talented PvP player. They also have tons of like Abyssal PvPers and just Japanese PvPers in general, like Nightcap. So they have a really solid team potentially. So they could be a dark horse, and I think that the possibility of an upset is maybe there.
Well, and something cool is I think both of these teams actually were both in the feeder rounds and got through it. Or I know they're both in the tournament. Yeah.
Darkside, I think, just bought into the tournament. Whereas Platinum Sensitivity made it through the feeder rounds. I believe they actually play Exodus as their first game, which is going to be pretty interesting.
Yeah, that's that's not a pro for anybody. Regardless of how good or not Exodus is right now, they are still scary, and we saw them fly pretty decently. I don't want to give too many shout outs to AP because he's sitting in Twitch chat, and therefore we need to not give him any props whatsoever. But it is still a pretty spooky setup for them to be. So this time we're not going to cheat. Who do you think is going to win between these two teams? We'll start with DTM.
I'm gonna go with Platinum Sensitivity.
Oh, okay. Going against Twitch chat. I love it. That's perfect. You are clearly a veteran streamer. And Satonia, what do you think?
Man, this one's rough. I think Darkside just have more AT history. They have Faffy Waffy as the captain, who was captain of many successful Russian teams in the last tournament. So I think normally experience bears out, I think. So I'll probably go Darkside, but I think Platinum Sensitivity definitely have the potential for upsetting them.
Yeah, I'm going to do the classic go for the underdog. According to all my logic, I think that Darkside probably should do really solid here, but I'm going to go for Platinum Sensitivity. Mark Bridges is a friend of my friend, and therefore a friend of my friend is a friend indeed. We are still waiting for the teams to fully get into system and on grid, so we're just kind of chilling here for a minute. We saw Platinum Sensitivity use some armor setups. I believe they actually used an Abaddon setup. Are we thinking that they might bring that again?
Yeah, they also were the team that like showcased off like the Gilas with the Sleipnirs as well. At least in the feeder rounds, they were the first team to bring it. So they have a decent pool, I think. I'd really like to see them bring a armor comp, but because armor Shield Rush is kind of passe now. But
Yeah, you guys heard it here. Satonia says Shield Rush is passe, so you need to be cool and bring unique and exciting things, because that's really what we're all here for, is to see crazy weird stuff. And DTM, what are you thinking? What do you want to see?
What do I want to see? I want to see double Rokes. All right, hear me out. Double Rokes, triple Ferox, 2 Karens, and I don't know, two Jackdaws. I don't know. Caldari Supremacy.
Somehow managing to make their way through that ban.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't think we'll see the Jackdaws, but the rest of it totally could happen. I believe that the teams are landing now, so what I think we might do is just do a quick ad break and then take a look and see what's on grid, so we can talk about it like that, because that's super fun to me, and we can predict things before we actually see stuff. That sounds cool to you guys.
We who have seen war will never stop seeing it. In the silence of the night, we will always hear the screams. So this is our story. Wolves amongst strangers.
Nah, he's got it. It'll be fine.
Oh shit.
Oh. Yeah, that's cool.
I'm getting a point. You guys ready? Oh, there's a curse as well. Are you shitting me? You're welcome, Durst.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the arena. I'm DTM135, joined by the most amazing solo PvPer, theory crafter, current CSM member, Sutonia. We're here for Platinum Sensitivity versus Darkside. Why don't you tell me about what's on grid, Sutonia?
Well, Darkside have brought a really offbeat comp here. I'm really excited to see how this does. 3 Ikaterses, Dracovic, Magus, Ponti, 2 Deacons, a Hyena, and a Sentinel. What have Platinum Sensitivity brought, DTM?
I'm changing my. I want Darkside to win. They've brought Sleipnir, Simi, 3 Gilas, 3 Sviples, and a Manicore. But I'm telling you right now, I love this offbeat team that we're seeing coming out of Darkside. I'm so excited. It looks like the match has started. It looks like Darkside's kind of pulling away right now. Meanwhile, their mainline sort of team lead, the Drekovac, staying sort of behind the group, either because he's slow or because he wants to screen a bit. The Slep's burning in, putting damage onto the Drekovac right now.
Fabi Waffy, the team captain there, sort of staying behind. I'm not sure if they want to intentionally let him get caught first. So that way, the Hyena of Calistria is taking a shit ton of damage on the Skeeter drones.
Yeah, lots of damage onto the Hyena. It does go down. They have no more control as far as those long-range webs. All of a sudden, the Ickies and the Dreks are going to have to do a lot more work. It's worth mentioning right now that the Drek is in trouble. It does look like he is getting webbed right now, and damage is going on to him on from the Sleps. Meanwhile, the Slep of Mark Bridges is taking some damage.
Yeah, all 3 Ickies are starting to spawn on him, so they are going to break him eventually. It's just going to be a matter of time. Caught A's Deacon taking quite a bit of damage there too.
Yeah, the Deacon is taking a lot of damage, so now he has a really, really hard decision to make. His other Deacon friend is, does he rep the Deacon, or does he try to help Faffy stay alive? Meanwhile, the Deacon is taking a lot of damage. He did get a little bit too close and burnt in a bit too close to these 3 Sviples that are putting a lot of work into his armor right now. He is going into low armor. Meanwhile, Faffy taking a lot of damage. It looks right now like Platinum Sensitivity isn't taking too much damage. Eliminating that Hyena really let them get on top. There's the Deacon down.
Yeah, this is looking really bad, and it looks like Mark Bridges is Sleipnir, despite having like these Triglavian ships spooling up on it. It's just not taking any damage. I don't know what's going on right now.
right now the other Deacon is taking a lot of damage. Going into armor, it's about to get popped. This Spiple's doing work. Meanwhile, Faffy is staying in his armor, but he has no more Logi to keep him up. And the spool, like you said, does not look like it's working at all. They have to make a decision here on what they're going to spool on, what they're going to do damage to, so that they can eliminate some DPS, so that they might be able to like scratch out a points winner or something like that. Meanwhile, the Drek of Faffy taking a lot of damage. He's about to go down as well.
Yeah, it looks like they've actually target swapped the Ickies onto this Seapool here, so that Seapool's going to go down, but they've already lost all their support on the Drekovic.
The Drek does go down. Meanwhile, 3 Ickies trying to... Are they spooling onto the Svipal right now? Are they trying to make it easier for themselves to kite? That Svipal just switched to mobility mode. Is he going to be able to scooch out and get away? Look at him burn back away. The Sentinel on the Semi trying to nuke it out has not been doing a lot of work. Lots of damage. The Sentinel goes down.
I think the Seapool's going to go down here, but we've seen like very good tactics actually from the Platinum Sensitivity side. They're putting all the TDs onto one Icky, then they're swapping them over. They also have ECM drones going on to another Icky, so they're like constantly trying to like reset and break their spool. And it looks like that Seapool's going to survive. Nick Switcher is back into max shield again.
Absolutely really good. Switching to prop mode right when he needs to burn away, get away from the cloud of all the damage, get away from their projection, and be able to get reps onto him. He has some Logi drone as well as that Semi working on him. Meanwhile, Lumen sitting over there, and then Pontifex is taking a lot of damage, is probably going to go down as well. And Skykiller Russian, a pilot who I've fought against in space, good pilot, taking a lot of damage, going to be going down in that Icky. It's just one of those situations where Platinum Sensitivity has made the right calls to get ahead of the game and to actually beat this comp. I was so excited to see it work, but they just made the right calls and were able to tear this part of comp.
Yeah, FG12's Scimitar actually taking quite a beating now from the 2 Ickies that are left alive. About to lose the Magus of Tic Tac, and he's gone. Even if they kill the Simi at this point, I'm not sure if they're able to do anything.
Yeah, even if they kill the Semi at this point, there's a huge question on grid with only 2 Ickies left on grid against 3 Gilas, 2 Sleipnirs. There's just not a lot. They could, as far as Platinum Sensitivity is concerned, they could just dive right on top of these guys with all of their ships and still pretty much win the match. That's a really rough position to be in if you're sitting in Darkside's spot. They brought an interesting comp. They tried to do something a little different, and they got punished for it. That is a credit to Mark Bridges' ability to keep these guys on point, and Platinum Sensitivity as a whole to make the right calls, do the good individual piloting, getting on top of the enemy. A huge part of this match happened in the first 10 to 20 seconds where they killed that Hyena with the Gila drones. That is a huge and an absolutely important call to make if you're sitting in Platinum Sensitivity's spot.
Yep, and they did manage to kill the Simi, but I don't think they're going to be able to kill anything else now, as both Ickies are about to die. First one gone. Second one gone. And that's game.
I didn't think I was going to be right, but Jesus.
Yeah, I mean, props to Darkside for bringing some like weird different comp, but it looks like Platinum Sensitivity just played so well there.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And we are back after seeing Platinum Sensitivity almost 100 no Darkside. Though I will say, I'm kind of sad about it. I really wanted to see that dark side setup just completely dunk on something because we have not seen that before, and unique and fun things are always fun to see win. Satonia, what do you think about that? Like, what do you think about the Akurtza?
I think it's a really powerful ship, but I don't know, don't know how good it is with the point cost value. It's such an expensive ship to bring. It's free. It costs 3 more points than a regular hack to bring, right? So it's a lot of points you're spending on it.
Yeah, it's true. I think that it did a really interesting job. Like they lived for so long, and I feel that maybe if they had gone after that scimitar early, they might have taken it down. Because I mean, the two of them were able to solo everything. Ikatursa, I don't know. Ikitursa. Perfect. All right, we're gonna call it that.
You just call it the Icky.
Icky, perfect. All right, we're gonna call it the Icky. It's the triangle assault thingy. But yeah, no, it's they seem to have no issues taking down a completely untackled scimitar. So I'm wondering if maybe if Darkseid had gone straight after the Simi, that could have gone differently because we saw that Simi reps. I mean, that's the first T2 Logi cruiser we've seen. So DTM, like T2 Logi cruisers, what's the pros and cons with them?
T2 Logi cruisers don't have the ability to self-rep in quite the sort of longevity way that 2 Deacons do. They're also easier to apply to. Speaking of application, I want to get your guys' thoughts. In the first moments of the match, we saw the Hyena go down. What separates somebody able to make a good, like a team captain that's able to make a good call on that from somebody who's not? What do you think does that come down to experience on TQ translating to tournament? Is that a strictly tournament thing? How do you learn to call to put those Gila drones on the Hyena at the start of the match?
I think these guys, they brought that setup in the feeder round, so they're definitely very practiced with it. I think we also saw not platinum sensitivity, but a team try and do that. I think it was the Volta team when in the best of 3 final last week when they brought the Drake and Gila team. They tried to headshot something at the start, so it seems like that's something that a lot of teams are experimenting with. The Gila has 5 sets of medium drones because it's very balanced, so you can very easily just sacrifice a set at the start of the match, just throw it on some support ship. You can also, if they have drone orgs in the highs as well, you can get extra drone range on them, so you can easily just assist them to some other guy who can just lock and put all of the drones onto some guy.
Absolutely. I think what do you think if the Hyena stays alive? Does Darkseid perform better that match?
Well, it definitely would have helped, right? It seemed like that team comp, the way they were playing things out, was kind of like a fly killer setup, but a bit weird. Because you got the 3 Ickies that are all kiting out. You got the Dracovic that's kind of playing as some big fat screening role. Then you have the Sentinel and you have the Hyena. So it seemed like they were kind of trying to go with kind of a more heavy fly killer kind of comp where you just kill all of the support with the Ickies. With the tracking bonus and the broken blaster tracking that heavy disintegrators naturally have, you can just frag everything.
Yeah. Well, they almost got him. They almost got that Sipple. I think they almost got another one too. And then, we saw just the power of the T2 Logi cruisers just doing so much work there. And I think part of it too is Darkseid did bring a Sentinel. And I don't think it really did anything because if you look at what they were fighting up against, it's what's a Sentinel going to do? You're going to track and disrupt their drones while they just alpha through your small ships. So, is what it is. They tried. It was really cool to see a new setup. Unfortunately, it did not work out. And for today, at least, Platinum Sensitivity does get to move on, and Darkseid is out for the next hour or two until we do this again if they show up in opens later. But next we have Test Alliance Please Ignore up against Turbofeed or Glory. So I'm going to just send this straight to Satonia because I feel like DTM is going to say mean things about Test, and we need to wait just a little bit for that. So Satonia, tell me, who do you think on this one? Which one are you voting for?
Man, this one's hard. I don't think we've seen Turbofeed or Glory play yet, right? I don't remember seeing them in the feeder rounds. They might have been in there. I don't really know a whole ton about them aside from Mark loves Vaporeans. That's all I know.
Okay. And then DTM, do you know things about Test besides let's say, let me rephrase this. Do you know tournament related things about Test? Because
So
let's be real, we
Jason's
all
their
know
team
about Test.
captain. He's an amazing team captain who works pretty hard on actually getting his team into practice and doing things like that. They have some really good pilots like Atticus. They have an amazing small gang FC and SIG leader from Test called Darren Wakefield on there. I don't know if people like Ambar have made it on the team. They also have a really good Logi pilot who I can't remember the name of off the top of my head right now. But they definitely have some key players who are experienced in a small gang setting, in a solo setting, as well as in these big fleet fight settings. So TQ experience, these guys spend a lot of times in space fighting other people, as well as having that FC that can really come in and offer sort of a tournament perspective and offer a comping perspective and a PIFA fitting perspective, as well as target call. It's one of these situations where we kind of had a perfect storm of a team who I'm really curious to see is going to perform this match. Definitely an interesting group to watch play. I don't know too much about Turbo Feed, but I'm hoping we get to see a really, really solid match now.
Yeah,
I feel like
Twitch chat is
Test should
split.
just, yeah, Test, you should just clip that, and just every time you're feeling down about, doing what you guys normally do, you can feel really good about yourself by listening to DTM say nice things about you. And I gotta cut you off slightly, Satonia, because I think we are actually getting really, really close to being ready here. So I'm just gonna ask for some predictions, and we're gonna swap it over to the arena a little bit early because it looks like we're doing incredibly good job at staying on time because General Stargazer is very good at this. So Satonia, prediction.
I'm gonna go with Test Alliance just because I know a lot more about them, and they are they at least do normally pretty well in most of the ATs. Unfortunately, they didn't make it through the feeder rounds, but they put up a good show. So I'm gonna go with Test.
DTM.
Test 120% of the way. I'm putting all of my money on Darren and Jason's ability to perform.
Awesome, and I am going to go with Turbo Feed because they might still be able to be in the tournament where Test no longer is. So hopefully I'm wrong for your guys' sake, and we are going to swap it over to the match real quick, where I think we're going to make you two commentate again because everybody likes listening to you. Oh, and we're there already. All right, no ad breaks this time. So go ahead and start talking about them.
So, of course, I'm really, really excited because I see Hyperions, guys. You have no idea. I love Hyperion. Amazing battleship. Getting brought over by Test Alliance. We see 3 Hyperions, Oneros, Magus, Pontifex, Blackbird, Vengeance, Skybreaker. Now I have a question for you, Sutonia. What's the other team bringing? What can we look forward to?
Yeah, so Turbo Feed have bought a Vindicator Armageddon with 2 Absols, 2 Deacons, 2 Confessors, a Maulus, and a Skybreaker. So an armor control team with a Vindicator and an Armageddon and 2 Absols. So just pretty solid. It's going to be a big brawl in the middle of the arena since there's 3 Hyperions on top of a Vindicator straight away at the start. I think that Vindicator might be regretting his life choices right now.
Absolutely. It's also worth mentioning the Armageddon newts can do some damage to Hyperions, but if they're cap injected, they're going to be able to run their guns. We're already seeing it start off by the Blackbird taking damage from the Test team. Meanwhile, the Vindicator already taking some damage. The question is, armor tank, hull tank. It's looking like armor tank so far.
Yeah, the Blackbird of Burtok already taking quite a bit of firepower there. I think if this game goes to time, it's probably going to go in favor of Turbo Feed just because they have the Armageddon there. Whereas, like, when you have those 3 Hyperions up, that's like a ton of damage. It looks like the Vindicator's slowly bleeding armor here.
Yeah, you're talking about, like, 4,000, 5,000 DPS on the Vindicator right now. There's not very many Deacon fits in the game that can actually rep that kind of DPS, nor a lot of fits for a Vindicator that fit the kind of resists needed to really be able to tank that damage. So we are seeing it bleed into armor. We are seeing it get lower and lower. We're probably going to see the Vindicator pop. Meanwhile, it's worth mentioning that while that Blackbird was taking damage at the beginning, it stopped taking damage. There is some tackle doing some work. The Vengeances are trying to get in the tackles and put their webs. Meanwhile, the Vindicator in hull right now. The Hyperions are just brawling it down, starting out at 0. Maybe wasn't the best call.
Yeah, the Hyperion of Tiro about to go down here. I think the next volley is going to kill him. There he goes. He's gone. I think that Blackbird is putting in work because I've just been, like, tabbing over to the stream, because we don't have fancy UI. And I'm seeing like the Armageddon is not neuting the Hyperions, he's neuting the Blackbird, so I think the Blackbird probably has him jammed.
I mean, the real question here is, even though there's a Vengeance going down, they've already lost a Vindicator, which is a lot of control. It looks like the Hyperions right now are moving to get on the Geddon. They have webs on the Geddon. They're just going to start working on this other battleship right now. That Geddon needed to use its newt range and get out of range and actually be able to allow to use its newts longer in the match and stay away from these brawling Hyperions with drone damage, with guns. That's a lot of DPS on grid that you have to worry about. They have 5 mids that they can use for utility and props and all kinds of different control in these matches. And it's super important to remember that you stay out of their gun range. Meanwhile, Deacons are taking damage, a lot of small stuff sort of skirmishing around the edges of the fight. But we're seeing the Geddon get burned down slowly. What are you thinking so far about the placement of the Geddons, about where these Hyperions are? We're actually seeing, I believe, a Hyperion have a Deacon tackled.
Yeah, I'm a bit confused. Like, I would really like the Confessors to just go after the Blackbird, personally, but it looks like they're like shooting support. I know one of them's tackled by a Vengeance, so he doesn't really have a choice, but I really think those Confessors need to go after that Blackbird. The Skybreaker does go down, but in the grand scheme of things, I don't think that's like a super important ship for the test team.
No, I mean the Aneros, the Blackbird, the 3 mainline Hyperions are a huge core for these guys. Just now getting Dante Toronos, who I mentioned before is a really good Logi pilot, definitely knows how to kind of stay out and away. Like, you've seen him for most of the match skirt around the edges of the arena, actually be able to mitigate DPS on himself. Even though they're shooting him, he feels like he's in a comfortable spot right now because he's way away from everything else. Meanwhile, the Hyperions get to go to work on the Geddon. They get to go to work on these sort of mainline DPS ships. I think it's worth mentioning that this Deacon over of Shakia on Turbofeed's side taking a lot of damage, not gonna be looking great for Turbofeed unless they get this Blackbird down, unless they start.
Speaking of that, it looks like there's 2 Absols and 2 Confessors on top of him, so I don't think that Blackbird is going to live for too much longer. He does have a Neros reps on him, so he's going to tank for a little while that Neros is able to rep him. But the 2 Abs, oh, the Deacon just went down.
All down into low hull now. Even with the reps, the Blackbird didn't last long. The question is, did it last long enough on grid to get the jams off to do its job?
Yeah, with that Blackbird gone now, I think the Armageddon is now going to be unleashed as long as he can survive, the 3 Hyperions for a little bit longer. He has been tanking for quite a while here, although it looks like he's finally starting to break. I'm not sure if that's because we lost the Deacons, right? So now he's in a lot of trouble.
Yep, going into low hull right now. We're about to see the Geddon go down again. The only question that Test has to really think about right now is, what do they go for next?
Yeah, they've still got 2 Absolutions and 2 Confessors. A lot of the support on the Test side is getting cleaned up now, but there's with the Magus of Dindal taking damage. But I don't know if 2 Absols and 2 Confessors can take 3 Hyperions and an Aneros.
3 Hyperions is a lot of damage. I've said it a couple times already. We're seeing this, the Maulus take damage, but the Magus does go down first. The other thing to mention too is you might be sitting here thinking that maybe the Hyperions can't quite apply to some of these smaller ships, but they have a really large drone bay. They have the ability to bring multiple flights of smalls, multiple flights of mediums, and like a single, depending on how they use their large drones, which really does allow them to apply to these smaller ships. While plus with grapplers and webs, it's going to be hard if you get even remotely close to the Hyperion.
Yeah, I'm just like tabbing into Fancy UI quickly, and it seems like each Hyperion has a grappler each, and possibly a web too, as well as the Vengeance. So they have a lot of webs. I don't think they're going to have any problems tracking these Confessors, even in defensive mode, if they are able to catch or latch onto them.
Yeah. It's worth mentioning that the Vengeance, who has been doing some tackle, is taking damage right now, but the Oneros of Dante trying to keep him up, trying to rep him. Is he going to actually live? I'm kind of curious to see. Will he live before Mark Resurrectus ends up going down in his absolution?
Yeah, I think if they want to win this fight against the Hyperions, right, they really need to clear out this Vengeance, so that way they can kite off with with Kanoko's Absolution and the two Confessors, because they can outrun Hyperions, but I don't know if they can outrun them and still kill enough Hyperions to win the timer. Or Mark Resurrection's Absolution going down now. It's looking really bad.
They can outrun the Hyperions, but they can't outrun a 50-point disadvantage. Meanwhile, the Fessor taking a lot of damage. Only the Skybreaker, the Absolution, the other Fessor. This has been one of those situations where a Brawl control comp versus 3 Brawl battleship mainline DPS ships.
Oh, the
You're
Nearest
just
has
seeing...
been tackled by one of the Confessors, and he is taking quite a bit of damage here. The Confessor and the Abso, the remaining team, they have actually pinned down this Aniris. Even if they're able to clear him out, though, is it too little too late? Because I'm not sure three Hyperions, even without Logi, are still pretty much unbreakable, right? Assuming they have like one like answer or something.
Yeah, pretty much. They're really hard to break, especially if they have any sort of resists fit for their armor. Which, assuming the Logi, they probably do. It's really gonna be up to I think it's gonna end up coming down to points here. They're at a huge point disadvantage. The question is, can they kill an Aneros? And how many Hyperions do they have to kill to take back point advantage?
Well, I mean, Kanoko's Abso has been locked down by the test team. He has 3 Hyperions sitting on top of him right now, as well as that Vengeance. So he's not going anywhere, and he's going to be brought down, I think, pretty shortly. So, and it looks like Dante's Neros now has rep drones on him, and he's doing pretty fine. The Skybreaker is trying to clear out all of these heavy rep bots. But, I mean, even if they kill this Neros, the Abso is definitely going to die, and, like, one Confessor and one Skybreaker aren't going to be able to do anything by themselves.
No, one Confessor, one Skybreaker aren't, especially against the might of 3 Hyperions. There's the Absolution going down. Test Alliance performing really well. I think a really key defining moment of the match was that Vindy starting out at 0. That's a hard fight to win against 3 Hyperions at 0.
Yeah, and the Blackbird seemed to do so much work in this match, at least from what I could see. It took so long for him to go down for some reason. I guess Test were just able to lock down the Confessors and stop them from being able to harass the Blackbird. Because that Blackbird, I think, was so disruptive. Like, it seemed like it locked down the Armageddon for such a long time, because I didn't really see Newts going on to anything other than the Blackbird for a while.
Yeah. I mean, that's a credit to sort of the time and effort that they put in, not just to their comps, but the individual pilots on test team, to spend time in space to learn how to screen, to learn how to actually keep these small things away from the more important ships in the group.
The question is Lester of the Weevils going to go for Casper 24's record, or okay, he's scrammed by Hyperion. I think he's gonna.
He's not going anywhere.
He's just honor brawling, and he's dead.
And Admiral try and Test going on to the next rounds.
Pew, 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 pew. Pew, pew, pew.
So the plan is that we execute a star formation with perfect 90-degree angles. You need to heat 2 cycles, not 3, 2. Spipple's web, but the Spipple's web. And we need do we need missiles, or is that missiles, and we need thermal drone?
HighSec Buyback offers 90% JITA anywhere in HighSec. Simply go to highsec.evebuyback.com, appraise your items, create a contract, and get paid quickly.
And with that, we have gotten our top 4 teams, because the unfortunately Turbo Feeder Glory is not going to be making it in. And we are joined by Alec here, who is. Have you been watching the matches, Alec? Or did you just wake up?
I have literally just gotten home.
Perfect. So if I asked you how you thought about the last match, you'd be like, I have absolutely no idea, but it was probably fantastic.
I'd have no opinion other than it sounded thrilling in the commentary that I heard when I joined the channel a couple minutes ago.
Awesome. Well, you know what? That's totally okay. I believe that Alec is going to be taking over for a DTM who wants to go play D&D or some other thing like that. So we'll probably have you be doing some casting up here. So I hope your pipes are all warmed up. Hope you've been, drinking some honey tea and are ready to chat lots and lots and lots here. Perfect. Excellent. Yeah. Go do some do re mi's or anything like that. So Satonia, since you did in fact watch the match and casted it and were there for the entire thing, how do you feel about that? Like, what happened there? What was the issue that you saw as the biggest thing for Turbo Feed?
I think just like the Blackbird living for so long caused so many issues. So I thought that Turbo Feed could overcome the test team if the Armageddon lived long enough, and it could slowly start pressuring the Hyperion, the Aneros cap. But that it seemed like the Blackbird, it took 3 to 4 minutes before it died, and it just lived for so long. And there's 2 Confessors on the other team that have sharpshooter mode that I was presuming they would probably just go after it. But it seemed like they got locked down by the test team, or they were trying to clear tackle instead of going after the Blackbird.
Yeah, I'm not sure if the Blackbird is the thing that totally won the game for them, but I think that, like you said, just having it live for so long and distracting the damage from the other team probably did. It's very, very it's a very scary ship for 6 points. I think that I'm surprised we haven't been seeing it as much because it isn't banned, and traditionally you see a lot of ECM. And I don't know. My personal opinion is that for a 6 point ship and an armor setup, you can kind of slot it into anything, right? Like it seems like any comp benefits from it.
Yeah, it's such a powerful ship, I think, and it's been slept on a little bit.
And also, warping your Vindicator in at 0 is always a gamble. I think it did not pay off because it ended up on top of 3 Hyperions, which are sort of an interesting Alliance tournament ship. Because you can't do some of the things you can do on TQ with one, they're not you're not going to have a Vindicator that tanks 3,000 DPS because of drugs and implants and all that. But at the same time, you probably can get one that'll tank a Vindicator, and I kind of think we saw that where they knew they had no chance of taking down any of those Hyperions, and they tried to go for the Blackbird and just totally failed at it, unfortunately.
Yeah, they said they couldn't break the nearest reps on the Blackbird, so they went for the small stuff first. So I guess they were trying to clear up tackle to free up the absolutions maybe. So then the Absos could go after the Blackbird, which is kind of what we saw. But by then the Vindicator was dead and the Armageddon was locked down in half armor.
Yeah, I think they adapted pretty well. They went after the back line and they did a pretty good job of it. But at the end of the day, if you end up with no DPS versus 3 Hyperions, it kind of just doesn't work out too well. And that being said, that match is over, and Test Alliance does get to move on. They will be playing Platinum Sensitivity, not this upcoming match, but the one after that. However, we do have Castabouts versus Forsaken Empire here. And so now that we've seen both of these teams play one match today, let's get a couple of predictions out of the way here. So, Satonia, we'll get yours first because you got to see them.
Oh, I really love the setup the Forsaken Empire brought, the max DPS, triple Oracle, triple Abaddon Shotgun. I love that. Castabouts flew really well in their game too. So it's going to be a very close match, I think. I'll probably go with Forsaken Empire again, just because I think they brought the most Chad setup so far in the tournament.
Awesome. And then, Alexi, you did not watch the matches, but that does not mean you get to not have an opinion. So between the Castabouts and Forsaken Empire, which one do you think is going to win here?
I'm always a big fan of Castabouts in the Alliance tournament. I always think they're a very game team. They're consistently solid. Not necessarily championship level team yet, but I feel like they're pretty reliable. So I'm going to go with Castabouts here. That's where my heart's at.
Awesome. And then I guess I'm the tiebreaker. I've been quote unquote wrong in every single match, or am I just doing the classic Ithaca and choosing the wrong team? Nobody knows here, but I'm going to guess that Castabouts is going to be the winner here, and we're going to see if I'm right. We are seeing some chat in local, so we should be switching over to the screen soon, especially as soon as these teams land here. But just seeing what is landing already, I think we're going to be having a maybe not necessarily a new comp, but a new comp for the day, which is pretty exciting. I'm also guessing that off of the one and only ship that's landed so far. So if I'm wrong, that's totally okay.
Oh, yeah, here come the rest of them. Yeah, wow, yeah, this is going to be an interesting match. Harbingers we're seeing on the field for the...
You spoiled it!
I don't know if it's the first time in the tournament. First time I've really noticed the non-faction version. That is going to be a very interesting choice. We'll go over it in a second.
Yes, it does look like everybody has landed. There might be one ship missing, but I think we're just going to swap right over to it. And yeah, I think let's do Alec and me casting this one just for the sake of giving Satonia a little bit of a break, since he's been doing a fantastic job, but has also had to talk for the last hour and a half. So now that we are swapped over, we have Center for Advanced Studies bringing a very, very different setup than anyone has brought so far, with the Balgorn, Triple Harbinger, Pilgrim, Augurer, Pontifex, Confessor, Crusader, and a Crucifier, which is kind of cool because they chose to bring a Pilgrim to get around the Curse Band, so there's a lot of tracking disruptors. However, is that going to be effective against the Forsaken Empire setup, Alec?
It will not. Forsaken Empire is rolling a drone comp with double Eos, triple Ishtar, a Pontifex for links, 2 Deacons for reps. They've got a Nurgle for probably some anti-screening DPS, and a Hyena to make sure those Eos and Ishtar drones apply for full damage. Now, I do predict that Hyena will not be long for this world, but generally speaking, I think Castabouts has an uphill battle here.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. Classic Harbingers, not the Navy variety, are very, very squishy, and we are seeing a massive drone ball of Navy Praetors and the light coming out and flying straight towards them, so they are opting to use a heavy drone setup, which means they have pretty extremely high DPS. We'll see. I believe the Pilgrim is going to be their first target just based on the target painting, which is a very smart idea. Pilgrims are quite strong, though we are seeing damage being split across 2 different ships at the same time here.
Yep, and the Castabouts team is kiting back. It bought them a couple extra seconds as those drones had to chase in, but they have arrived on target now, and that Pilgrim is really feeling the pain. Now, the one benefit that the Pilgrim has over the Curse, it's going to have a stronger tank, a little bit more low slots to play with there, but that is a lot. That's a really big drone ball. Now they've moved that off to another target now. Meanwhile, the Ishtar of Mariamon taking the bulk of the damage from Castabouts. It seems like they've stopped targeting that Hyena. Probably realized it was a bit too small to get without any kind of tackling. Oh, that Harbinger is dropping.
Harbinger's going down very quickly here. I'm not sure if a Augurer is able to keep it up. Augurers actually rep a lot more than people think they do, but we're seeing I guess almost a surprisingly small amount of damage coming out from both sides right here. I think that Castabouts is trying to get those Harbingers into a good position, but I think switching off the Hyena was maybe actually a really good idea. Since I'm guessing it's an armor Hyena, which means it has insane laser resistance versus an all laser team here.
One of the Harbingers on Castabouts is woefully out of position, and Forsaken Empire has realized it. They've moved the drone cloud on top of Ivory Imp Nova, who's quite separated from the rest of his team. He's already chunked down to half armor. He is getting some reps from the Augur. Those reps will not be as effective far away as he is. There is fall off on reps, so they are beginning to punch through his tank, slowly but surely grinding him down.
Yeah, and even if they don't take him down, this is going to force the Augur to move in a little bit closer. You know what I'm kind of looking for? I haven't seen this Balgorn be particularly effective yet. I think Forsaken Empire is doing an incredible job of kiting off and really using that drone power. That being said, Center for Advanced Studies is actually targeting drones down right now. That's why you're not seeing a lot of damage going out. And the Crusader just gets randomly popped. I think the drones just all swapped to it and just alphaed it. So good job on that Hyena's point of view. That makes it much harder for Center for Advanced Studies to tackle anybody down.
Yeah, great play to take that out. I think for the Castabouts' benefit, though, the loss of a Crusader in this situation, not that bad. However, their Augur is now taking huge damage, and that will be a very significant loss. He's already been ripped to about a third of his armor. The Augur does not have a great self-tank. It is all projected reps, and it is feeling the pain right now as he is about to go down, and there he goes. That is a devastating loss.
Well, I don't think there was anything they could really do about that. Like when that Augur had to push in, that was it. And Forsaken Empire being very, very intelligent and swapping immediately. And it does look like they're going to start working on those Harbingers now. And I don't know, Castabouts has to do something. Like they need to start getting some damage on something here. And I'm not really sure what their plan is, but Green is actually taking massive damage in his Harbinger and is already down in half armor.
Yeah, they do have the Nurgle neuted. I presume those newts are from the Balgor, and it is taking some pretty heavy damage, but as long as the Deacons are up, the Nurgle has a fantastic resist profile. They should be able to keep him up against the EM thermal damage coming from these Harbingers, and now they're about to deal with less Harbingers. One drops. There's a big chunk of the damage from Castabouts. And, history is going to repeat itself. With the Augur down, there is not much they can do to keep these Harbingers alive. They are not particularly tanky ships by themselves. They don't have great local tanks. It does appear that they're mostly buffer, if not entirely buffer here. They're just going to drop, and once those Harbs go down, neither the Balgorn nor the Pilgrim are really much of a threat to them, so this match will probably be over, as once this Harb goes down, I don't think they have the DPS to cut through anything else.
Yeah, and the Pontifex did actually just boundary violation. Narg does go down in the Harbinger, and the Balgorn actually just did an MJD, but it was a really, really bad one and went in the exact wrong direction. I wouldn't say he was completely in the wrong direction here, but it was really not a good MJD. I think he was trying to MJD on top of the Deacons, but he hit it about maybe 5 or 6 seconds too slow here. So a good attempt with the Balgorn to try and jump into them and get on top of them. It does not do anything, and Ivory's Harbinger now is taking a lot of damage, and they're just taking the Crucifier, so this drone comp is just ripping Center for Advanced Studies apart.
Sometimes you have to make the best play that you can. That may have been the best option the Harbinger had at the time, but really unrealistic for one Harbinger and a very screened Balgorn to be able to take on ships supported by double Deacons, which are not tackled down.
No, and I feel that maybe Center for Advanced Studies, I think they might have kind of outmeted themselves here, because their setup actually looks like it'd be really good against, maybe any other turret-based setup. Like the Forsaken Empire's Abaddon setup versus theirs might have had some serious trouble, as Abaddons are notoriously weak to energy neutralizers, and they brought the Pilgrim and the Crucifier for tons and tons of tracking disruptor. But Forsaken Empire, maybe they thought about that. They're like, hey, we showed this Abaddon setup, and what if we bring something completely different in case someone tries to counter us? So, yeah, I don't know. I feel like that might have been some out-meta play here on both sides. I'm going to bring a counter to what you brought. I'm going to counter your counter. I'm going to counter your counter's counter.
It's not necessarily just tracking disruptors, and they could have gone with guidance disruptors there. It does seem like they were heavily optimized for turrets, based on the icons that I'm seeing here in the client, but at the same time, turret-based shield ships, which seems to be what their damage was centered around with those Harbingers, not super common, and the ones that are common in the tournament tend to be the Tech 2 Mimitar stuff, which has very strong EM resists. So, I don't know, I think they just may have, yeah, you're right, out-meta themselves, or at least had some mixed signals on what they were really going for with this comp. And Forsaken Empire just deftly countered it with the drone setup. Doesn't matter what kind of tracking disruptors or guidance disruptors you've got, the drones do not care. They're going to be on you no matter what. I would doubt that the Ishtars and Eoses are even fielding any guns whatsoever. They're most likely have neutralizers in the highs to just maximize the cap pressure, and that further put pressure on those Harbingers. And that's it. Congratulations, Forsaken Empire.
And with that, Forsaken Empire moves on to our finals match, where Center for Advanced Studies is going to be playing for bronze versus somebody who's to be decided with our next setup. It's kind of cool. We saw two different setups that we haven't seen yet, a drone setup and what was, I think, an attempt to be an armor control. Satonia, what do you think about the Center for Advanced Studies team that they ran there?
Yeah, it seemed really weird and oddly specific. I really don't like Harbingers just because I don't think they have really the resists to survive under pressure, especially when you're bringing, you know, like a Tech 1 Logi. So the setup seemed a bit weird to me. Like it seemed like you guys suggested, where it was more that they were trying to like counter a comp that Forsaken Empire had already bought.
You know, it would have been a fantastic counter to like a rock Moa setup, but you don't really see that too much in the tournament. It would have been the perfect rock to that scissor, but that's
God,
pretty specific.
You did the pun. You weren't here. The pun's bad. Me no like. Yeah, no, I think that I really truly think they looked at that Abaddon setup and were like, okay, how do we beat this? Well, why don't we just bring newts and tracking disruptors? And you know, maybe Forsaken Empire was like, haha, what if they counter us? Well, what counters ECM and tracking disruptors? Drones, but maybe they just wanted to fly drones. Who knows? That is the first time we've seen drones today. I believe that's one of the few drone matches we've seen so far with this tournament. I believe we've seen it a couple times, but it was very effective. I mean, they won 100-0, so pretty good stuff there. We will see another match from both of these teams, with Forsaken Empire going to be doing a best of 3 in, I don't know, half an hour, something like that. We'll see. But that does mean that we're going to see Platinum Sensitivity versus Test Alliance Please Ignore coming up next. So that's a pretty good one. I think we got a lot of people vote or very happy about both Platinum Sensitivity and Test Alliance in Twitch chat. So Tony, what are you thinking about this one?
Yeah, this one's going to be a good match, I think. Platinum Sensitivity, the fact that they were able to go through Darkside, which would probably be my pick for the winner before the actual games played, is a good credit to them. Test also played very, very well in the Turbo Feed of Glory game. Seemed like they, especially their support with the Blackbird and the Vengeances and stuff, they held the field really well and allowed those Hyperions to crush through the team. So this is a really hard one to pick. I think I'd probably go Platinum Sensitivity, just because I know a lot more of the pilots on that side.
And what about you, Alex? Are you pro Platinum Sensitivity?
I think Test has really surprised me this year. I think they've punched a bit above their weight, but at the same time, I got to go Platinum.
Apparently, Tappy is going down, according to both of these people, and I do have to agree. However, I've been wrong about pretty much every team, so I might be giving them the famous curse here, and we'll have to see what happens there. What did we see from these two teams? So Platinum Sensitivity, we've actually seen them bring a lot of stuff since we've got to see 3 or 4 matches of them, if you count the feeder rounds. So what have we seen from them so far, Satonia? You usually remember this stuff a lot better than I do.
Yeah, so in the feeders, they brought the Triple Sleipnir, Triple Gila team, which is what they bought in the open game too. So they brought that pretty cool shield rush setup. I can't remember what they bought in the second day of the feeders, unfortunately. I'm blanking that a little bit, but they've definitely shown that they are really capable of bringing really solid shield comps.
And then with Test Alliance, we've seen them, I believe they brought a drone setup on the first day of the feeders. On the second day, they brought Barghists and Lost. So I think that was the only Bargus match we saw, and Bargus did lose, which maybe they shouldn't be banned every time because the Flattle ship is a bait. And then we saw them bring, I already forgot, which is bad because it happened like 30 minutes ago. What did they bring last match?
They brought the triple Hyperion team.
That's right. Yeah, the powerful, the hype train. So we've seen a lot of variation from Test, so they could pretty much bring out anything they wanted to, which is cool because we might see some really crazy stuff. The pilots are in system now, which means we will be seeing this very, very shortly. In fact, I think they're all ready to go, so we're going to just swap over to the arena now, and let's do Alec and Satonia. How about you two take this one?
Cool, so I guess we're already in the arena, so looks like Platinum Sensitivity have brought the same comp they brought today already, the double Sleipnir, Scimitar, triple Sweeple, triple Gila, Manticore comp. What have Test brought, Alec?
Test brought a very similar setup to the Forsaken Empire comp we saw earlier, but with some very important changes in the lower end. They do have the double Eos, triple Ishtar core, but now they have an Aneros rather than double Deacon for Logi, and they're using that spare pilot power to bring an Ishkur, one of the rare times we've seen that in the tournament, a Confessor, and 2 Garmers, which should give them some excellent tackling.
Yeah, the Ishka is pretty interesting. It's not as tanky as the Vengeance is, but it does have those drones which it can use for DPS, or because it has enough to carry 2 flights of light, you can also put in like a pack of utility drones in there, like ECs or Repbots.
And it's one of the rare ships that gets a speed bonus. So, those drones are very flexible and they can reposition quickly. We'll wonder how they're going to be using them. Will they use them for light damage drones, or could it be some kind of rep support for the Aneros?
Yeah, we're seeing the Gila drone scream over to one of the ships. We're going to see if they're going to try to go for a headshot like last time. They were able to completely blow up a Hyena straight away. Sweeple taking a lot of damage from Nyx. It looks like the drones are going after the Aneros of Dante.
And that is a great call that Aneros is not going to have tons of assistance with all the other ships presumably running damage drones. It's just going to have its local tank, which can be easily overwhelmed. And it's feeling the pain right now. However, damage is split onto Eddie Knight's Ishtar in the Test team. Not sure what the call is there.
I think he's actually tackled by the Sleipnirs, so the Sleipnirs are doing DPS to him while the Gila drones are still on the Aneros. It looks like they are breaking the Aneros.
Yeah, he is dropping not long for this world. Also, Burtok Francis's Garmer taking some heavy damage. There's the Aneros down. Platinum Sensitivity scoring a very important first blood.
Yeah, it looks like Test are swapping DPS over to Kentler Chris. I can't see his name, unfortunately. His Sleipnir. It's taking quite a bit of a beating, but it seems like he's holding fine just now.
Yeah, he's doing well, and I think quite importantly, he is not tackled or really under a lot of pressure at all. It seems like they just started applying some newts to him, but that's quite late in the game. Meanwhile, this Ishtar, I think he's hit his assault damage control because damage slowed on him quite a bit, but that is only going to last for a short period of time, and then he is going to drop very quickly. Malcolm guns Ishtar not long for this world under the withering fire of this triple Gila Sleipnir comp.
Yeah, he's locked down by all of the tackle there, as well as the 2 Sleipnirs, so he's definitely going down within the next 2 seconds, and he's gone.
And it looks like the Ishtar will follow. He's not doing well. He's webbed down. He's taken about 2/3 of his armor now. Does seem like he's getting some reps, maybe a bit of a local tank on that Ishkur, which would be an interesting but intelligent choice, giving him the ability to last even after the logistics goes down. But ooh, that Confessor just got chunked.
Oh yeah, man. He's still in sharpshooter mode as well, so he's not even defensive mode, so he's taking a ton of damage right now.
He may have swapped over, but too little too late. The Confessor bites the dust, and Party Boy's Ishkur is about to join him. Oh, that just got ripped apart.
Are Test even able to break anything now? They still have 2 Ishtars, 2 Eos, which is still probably around 2,000 DPS, but with the Scimitar still alive and under no threat whatsoever, he's very happy sitting at the back there. With an Ishtar already locked down, I don't see a way out of this for Test.
They have a tremendous amount of damage, but it needs to go on the Ishtar. It needs to go on the Ishtar now, and the Garmers need to help by tackling him down. It looks like they are beginning to make that adjustment. Perhaps. Nope. The Garmer flew right past him. That Ishtar is, or excuse me, that Scimitar is perfectly fine. They've lost another Ishtar. It seems like they may lose another Garmer and another Ishtar to follow. The Scimitar is not tackled, or it seems like under any pressure whatsoever, and it is easily able to manage the damage coming out of the remaining test team.
Oh, that Garma just got like absolutely chunked. He died in like 3 shots.
Yeah, the Garmer, a very maneuverable frigate, but by itself against such tremendous application, the Gila drones apply to frigates very well. These Fibbles apply to frigates very well. Even the tremendous speed of the Garmer is not going to be able to keep it up indefinitely, and they're just getting removed off the field systematically.
It doesn't like Test were able to get a Supal there, but they traded an Eos for it, so not the best trade in the world.
No, they were able to get something though, which is honestly that's pretty surprising given the current state of the field. They may be able to get another one, perhaps. They do have a little DPS remaining, but the core messages, no matter how many Sveeples they kill, there's still more than enough damage within those Gilas and Slefners to bring down the rest of their ships. And I don't think it's realistic to cut through those ships through the reps of that Scimitar.
Yeah, it looks like the Garma and some of the drones are going after the Manticore. It did get put into low armor, but not quite enough to volley it. And looks like it is actually catching reps now.
That is a really good play, though. Of the ships remaining in the field, that is probably their best bet.
Oh,
And
and
there
it's
it
gone.
goes. Manticore down. But they traded an Ishtar for it. Now only an Eos and Garmer remaining. And that Eos probably does not have enough DPS by itself to get through even the remaining Svipples.
Yeah, especially if the Sipples go into defensive mode with the Scimitar still alive and unchallenged. I don't think they have any chance of really breaking anything else.
Well, Test is making a play for it. Nick's Witro Swipple is about at 2/3 shield, getting close to half shields. He's dropping below half. The Scimitar sleeping on the job, perhaps. But there goes the Eos. And with it, all chance of Test killing another ship.
Bertok France's Garma's probably not long for this world once the Gila drones catch up to him that are chasing after him. He is probably going to be alpha.
He may in fact be faster than those Gilas. I think he's making a break for the Edge of Glory or perhaps a micro jump unit. The micro jump unit would be a grave mistake if that's what he's going for. And it is, and he should die in a couple seconds.
Yeah, he wasn't able to like make it in one pass. He's like burning back into these Gila drones that might get like some good shots on him here. Still 2 infiltrators. Looks like he actually broke their drone control range.
He's changed his mind, and he's burning away now.
There's
flying to win here.
The Gilas have swapped over to Valkyries, so I guess we'll see if the Garma can outrun Valkyries the same way it can outrun the infiltrators. And it looks like the answer to that question is no, it can't.
Yeah, they're applying every once in a while, but he doesn't have any local tank to speak of, so every bit of chip damage is gonna stick. He's now in structure, rapidly approaching 0 structure. And there he goes. Congratulations. Platinum sensitivity defeating Test. Moving on.
We who have seen war will never stop seeing it. In the silence of the night, we will always hear the screams. So this is our story. Wolves amongst strangers.
Nah, he's got it. It'll be fine.
Oh shit. Oh. Yeah, that's cool.
I'm getting a point. You guys ready? Oh, there's a curse as well. Are you shitting me? You're welcome, Durst.
And with that, Platinum Sensitivity takes a confident victory over Test Alliance, going 100-7. This puts Test Alliance Please Ignore in the bronze match versus Center for Advanced Studies, which is what we are going to see next. And Forsaken Empire versus Platinum Sensitivity will get a best of 3 to see who is the true winner of the most important tournament of this Saturday, the Opens. I think we saw a really cool attempt on Test Alliance's part with using a drone setup. However, it did not seem to work out too well for them. So, Tonia, do you have any super crazy insights as to why that happened?
Not particularly. It just seemed like Platinum Sensitivity just had really, really good positioning. I think the Aneris as well, like when you have like a ton of projection like they have with the Gilas, when you bring this drone comp, this like EOS triple Ishtar comp, you can't really use any rep bots, right? So you have really nothing for the Aneris. Only the Ishka had like, rep bots for the Aneris, and you have to rely on the Aneris like self-tanking itself. And I think that can work fine if you're against a team that doesn't have good projection, like Vindicated team, Hyperion team, like maybe like a more like ham rush team where the nearest can like just chill out at like 60-70 kilometers and never have to worry about getting attacked. But when you have those Gila drones that just scream over at the start of the match to do 1.5k DPS, and the nearest can't self tank that without rep bots.
Yeah, the power of those medium drones is very, very strong. They pretty much apply to everything in the game that they can stay close to, which means you can't really sig tank them. So you think about the Oneirus, ideally it would have an afterburner on it and be able to avoid a lot of damage or potentially outrun heavy drones once they start orbiting. Drones are weird; they do weird things, but the Gila drones kind of circumvent that by going very fast and hitting very hard on everything. Alec, do you have any insights? You're like, hey, well, maybe if Test had done this, it would have done better.
I've been thinking about it. The Aneris was probably the right choice for their comp, even if they had done the double logistic frigate setup that we see in so many comps against the Gila drones. To your point, they're still going to hit for that full damage. I think the Aneris actually has a better chance of surviving against that team than any other logistic option they had. But at the same time, to Satonia's point, it can only do so much with the rest of your team using their drones for damage and not for supporting the logistic ship. And to their credit, Platinum Sensitivity picked up on that immediately and prioritized the Aneros straight off the bat, using their projection to get damage on him right away and kind of headshotting it, which opened up the rest of the match for them in a way that a lot of other teams don't do. So I think they deserve a lot of credit for that decisive target calling at the start. It was the right call. I think Test kind of couldn't have done anything better in terms of their logistics setup, but at the same time, that's the price you pay. It's one linchpin ship. If it goes down, the rest of your fleet is kind of stuck. I think the only thing they could have done to adjust for that is putting more local rep on their ships, which we saw with the Ishkur, but not terribly effective on most of their other ships.
Yeah, I think it was interesting to see too. Platinum Sensitivity's Svipples actually rammed in and had that Oneirus tackled, and about the first maybe 10 to 15 seconds of the match. So, I'm wondering if maybe there had been some screening done there, or if they had gone after the Svipples to clear them off, which they didn't really do. Like, we did see that as soon as Test started taking out the small ships, they took them down very, very fast. So I don't know, maybe I just totally missed it or something, but it didn't really seem like Test was applying a lot of damage to start off on that match. What were they actually on to begin with?
They were hitting the Sleipnir, but the Scimitar was able to easily keep it up. And despite the additional tackle power of the Garmers, it didn't seem like they really used that element of their team effectively.
Yeah, it looked like they tried like one or two Sepals to begin with, then they just went for the Sleipnir once Nishtar was tackled, and they didn't really like change that until like near the end.
Yeah, I think I would have liked to see a little bit better screening there. Letting your Oneirus get rammed by two Svipples and then not doing anything about it. It's once he's tackled, you might as well take him out. Like, they could have maybe freed the Oneirus. I don't think it would have lived that much longer just because of those Gila drones. But the other thing too, those Gilas were actually heavy assault missile Gilas, which are kind of weird ships. They do a ton of paper DPS, but maybe if the Oneirus hadn't been tackled, it might have lived significantly longer, just because then you get afterburning armor cruiser versus heavy assault missiles. But regardless, it does put Platinum Sensitivity in the finals, and unfortunately for Test, not only do they end up in the bronze match, they also have another match that they're going to have to play within about 10 to 15 minutes here, which makes it really, really rough. So they're going straight into this, and our next one is going to be Center for Advanced Studies versus Test Alliance. Please ignore. I believe we're going to be kind of getting ready to have that ready in about 10 minutes or so, which means you have to listen to us talk for a while, but that's totally okay because that's what we're all here for anyways. So, Alec, you've seen Test, you've seen Center for Advanced Studies.
Mhm.
Of these two, who do you think is the winner?
Ooh, well, Test certainly performed better, but they also have less time to prepare, and frankly, I think their loss may have felt a little bit more frustrating. It's kind of a toss-up. Um, my head is saying Test, my heart is saying Cass.
Yeah, for most teams, losing a match can be really, really tilting. I do think that Test may have a secret sauce here in the fact that they've basically been losing for months now, so it probably won't affect them that much. I'm believing in them. I do think that they have flown really, really well, and I was feeling good about castabouts until I saw that Harbinger setup, which we saw earlier, and I think Satonia said it best that it was weird.
It was totally weird, but the thing about that kind of thing, if you lose the rock paper scissor, morale wise, it's like, okay, they have a perfect counter for our comp. Let's do the best we can, but let's not really worry about it too much. Arguably, Test setup was just as good as, if not better, than the platinum sensitivity setup. They didn't execute as well. I think that's a very different kind of mental impact and kind of different adjustment they're going to make match to match. But to your point, they've been doing terribly for months now, so they may just be desensitized to failing to land.
What do you think, Satonia?
Yeah, I'm really torn because I think, like, in terms of piloting, I think I would probably go like lean a little more towards castabouts. But in terms of like setups and like how good the setups are, I'd probably lean a little more towards Test. So it's a hard pick for me. It looks like Twitch chat are really favoring castabouts over Test. I'd probably put this one at 50-50 personally.
Yeah, I do have to say the Test setups that they've been running have actually they've looked like real setups. I guess that's kind of a not super nice thing to say, but at a certain point you can look at a team comp and say, hey, this looks like a valid setup, right? Like the Test setup that they just ran, that felt like a good setup. Like I feel like they should have done a lot better, like Alex said. So they definitely have the theory crafting there. Whereas, like I said, the Balgorn Harbinger with the Pilgrim, it's like, that's cool, but it didn't feel super strong, mostly because Harbingers are not, like, I don't know, I don't like the ship. It's a T1 battlecruiser, so it just dies to everything.
And it's arguably one of the worst T1 battlecruisers for the tournament context. I mean, it's frankly not a great option in TQ either. But for the tournament in particular, it just doesn't bring what you need to the table. It can't local tank extremely well. It can project damage well, but a lot of other ships can do it if just as well, if not slightly better. It doesn't really give you the edge in the close range damage like you might see from a Brutix. It doesn't give you the edge in projection you might need from like a Hurricane or something like that. It doesn't give you a really strong resist bonus like a Drake, which we also don't see that much, or Ferox, which we also don't see that much. It's just kind of meh. I don't know, Sutonia, is that your feeling as well? Like, if you were going to bring a Harb, to me, the thing you would bring it for is if you have really high confidence that your opponent is going to fly Tech 1 shield ships. But that's usually not the core of a lot of these tournament comps.
Yeah, I'm not too sure. Like I said, I don't really like the Harbinger because I don't think it has the resist profile to like stand up to any kind of abuse, and it's just going to fall over. Especially in the case where they bought the Tech 1 Logi instead of a Tech 2 Logi. It's very hard to like keep a Harbinger up under pressure. I actually saw right when they primaried the Pilgrim to begin with, the Pilgrim actually just stood up just fine, whereas the Harbingers like seemed like they're taking like twice as much damage.
And if you do fit the Harbinger up to have a great resist profile, then you're taking away arguably the only thing it does bring, which is good projected DPS, because you have to take the damage mods off to put more resists on it, and it has it has lows, but not nearly enough as it to do both. So you kind of have to pick: am I going to have a tanky Harbinger, or am I going to have a damage projection Harbinger? And that's kind of an awkward choice because it really does need the help on that tank. Again, no resist bonus, no local tank bonus.
Yeah, I'd much rather go with something like Oracles instead of Harbingers, and then just like upgrade one of the support ships to like a Command Destroyer or something to replace the links that it brings. So I don't think it doesn't really bring enough DPS and projection, I think, to like justify spending the points on it over like other ships. Like I think something like an Oracle would be way better, or you just pick like a decent hack or a Gila or something. I mean, it's an armor setup, but I mean, you could bring an Ishtar instead of a Harbinger.
Or if you really like the medium laser concept, go with Absolutions instead and kind of rework the lower end of your setup. Absolution does not have the same problem. It actually has a fantastic resist profile and even better projected damage with less sacrifices, better links. Costs more, but it's arguably worth it.
Yeah, I would have much rather seen them downgrade the Ogre to maybe 2 Deacons and then just upgrade the Harbs to Absolutions.
Yeah,
or maybe even go Inquisitors if that's not enough points.
I think that'd be a much more solid setup. I think they still would have struggled against the comp that they ran into, but you're not always going to know. In fact, unless your intel network is quite good, you're rarely going to know what the opponent is going to bring ahead of time. I think the Abso double frigate setup that you outlined there would be much more flexible and, generally speaking, more effective.
Yeah, we've actually seen quite a few teams bring that kind of setup too. Like bring sort of like double Abso in with some battleships. We saw the Turbofeeder Glory team. They brought a Vindicator Armageddon and then the 2 Abso comp with the 2 Deacons. I like that comp a lot more.
Yeah, I mean, generally speaking, we're seeing not a ton of battleships in the matches that I've been commentating so far. What do you think of that?
Oh, sorry, Alex. I completely blank you there. What was your question again?
He was he said if we haven't seen a lot of battleships, but not in the matches you've been commentating. We've actually seen a pretty good chunk of them today. They've been it's
let
been
me
weird.
rework my question then to the both of you. What do you think is the smarter points investment? To have your DPS core in battleships with a smaller or lighter weight support wing, or put your DPS core in T1 or T2 battle cruisers and have, generally speaking, a thicker tail end of your setup?
I don't know. I think there's good sides to both. Like I think like sort of like double, like we've seen like a lot of like battleship cores do very well. You know, like you do like double Vindicator Armageddon, then you just have like a bunch of like support ships. And we've also seen, you know, teams that are all like mostly mid-range, like, you know, the team that Platinum Sensitive bought, 3 Gila, 2 Sleipnir, Scimitar, and then you just have like 3 Sepals and, you know, Logi Frigs. Oh, not Logi Frigs, sorry, the Bomber.
Yeah, it's definitely a weird thing. I think we've seen battleships feed so much to shield setups that I think that people are a little scared to bring them. But we have seen some pretty cool setups with them, including Test with their triple Hyperion, and maybe we're going to see that again because the teams are actually in local now, which means that soon we will be able to see who is the third place team here between Castabouts and Test Alliance Please Ignore. So we've kind of talked about it. We know that we're sort of thinking Test is bringing better setups. Castabout might be better pilots. Is that kind of an agreement all around between the three of us who know so much about spaceship games?
At least in what I've seen today. I like outside of today, I would probably go Test over Castabouts personally.
Well, I mean, it's all going for me. It's going to come down to whether Castabouts rethinks their setup strategy or not. I do think that pound for pound, they probably have more skilled, more experienced tournament pilots. But if they're in a setup that doesn't really work, it's going to be very easily countered. And then you've got an uphill battle. And you can overcome some of those uphill battles with superior piloting, but man, it is really hard. And when the tournament matches are difficult enough already, You want to make it as easy as possible for your pilots to win when they do all the right things. And if they don't up their setup game, that is not going to happen, frankly.
Yeah, I don't think Test are bad pilots either. Like in the first match, they definitely looked really, really strong. In the second match, it seemed like they lost steam pretty early, but they're definitely not bad pilots either. So I think if Test bring a really solid comp and Castbouts bring Harbingers, I think Test will probably win.
I'm not saying Test are bad pilots. I'm saying comparatively, I would give Cast the edge. Doesn't mean Test is bad by any means. In fact, I think they've done surprisingly well in the matches that we've seen so far, both here and in the feeder rounds. But, you're not taking these teams in a vacuum. They are going head to head.
To be fair, it's okay to say Test is bad. Like, this is a safe space.
I really
say
don't
whatever
think
you
it's
want.
bad, though. I really think they've done remarkably well, particularly well above the expectations I certainly had for them, and I think a lot of people had for them coming into the tournament based on how things have been going for them on TQ and previous tournaments. So I think they've upped their game there. But, Cass is a very, very veteran tournament team and a great organization. They're going to have the edge there. It's just the way it is. But Test has clearly put the work in on the theory crafting side, and I think they've put the work in on the practice side. So we should be seeing a great match as both teams take the field here.
We're definitely going to have a great match based on what's landing right now.
You guys are stealing my lines. I can't even do the classic, and everybody's coming and landing right now. So as they have taken, they've totally ruined it and stolen my ability to say, hey, the teams are landing, so we're going to swap to the arena. The teams have landed, and so we're going to swap to the arena. And we have something kind of weird here. I think that, are you too good to take this one again, or need to sub out?
Oh, I don't mind. I'm cool to do whatever, man.
Dude, Satonia is going to run every single one of these down. I gave him a little break to arrest his dulcet tones, but yeah, we'll do Satonia and Alex again. All right, tell us about this. We got some craziness going on here.
Man, I'm really excited about this cast team. So they've brought 2 Megathron Navy issues, 3 Brudix Navy issues, 2 NUs, a Tyrannus, and 2 Navituses. What have Test brought?
Test brought the triple Hyperion Aneros comp we've been talking about, a Pontifex and Magus for double links, a Blackbird for jams, 2 tanky Vengeances for tackling, and a Skybreaker, which, not the best ship in the world, but a tremendous value for its points. It is only a 1-point ship with a lot of mid slots.
Yeah, and crucially, every single one of these battleships and battlecruisers are right next to each other at 0. So we're going to have a very quick match, I believe. Very explosive match.
Yeah, with that much blaster damage, you got to believe one of these ships is going to die real fast. Who? It's hard to say. It's really going to come down to the target calling here and which ships go down first. I think the team that scores that first kill is going to have a pretty great snowball advantage here.
Yes, worth pointing out that Test does have the better support wing here, I think, with the Aneros. And it also has, I think, the Blackbird and those 2 Vengeances, which probably are going to be able to maybe go after the Vituses of the cast side. They have the much weaker Logi. Saying that, though, Hyperion already in armor here.
Yeah, it's the Hyperion targeted on the Test team and the Megathron Navy for cast. And that Megathron Navy is going down really, really fast. Oh, my God.
Oh,
that
it's
better be structure tanked. Yes, okay, I think it is. Oh, had a mild heart attack on Cass's behalf there. This Hyperion will not be structure tanked. Ooh, the Navituses of the cast team, it appears they're a little tackled now and under some pressure.
Yeah, they're actually getting hit by Skybreaker bounces, so they're taking a ton of damage. It doesn't seem like they're particularly tanky.
Now the Enyo has tackled the Aneros.
Test Hyperion down though.
Not doing much with it. Yeah, they're focusing. Oh, also the Blackbird is taking some fire. That Hyperion loss is really significant, though. That is effectively 1/3 of their DPS. The Test team, it's 3 Hyperions with all support. There is no damage coming off of that support wing to speak of.
Yeah, we're about to lose Ellie Stan's Megathron Navy issue. Gene Starwind's Hyperion already very, very low structure, though. If this Hyperion goes down, I think castabouts are going to have like a huge advantage here.
Ooh, it just caught a huge rep. It is hanging on by a thread, and there it goes. Traded for some of the Castabout support wing, but probably not enough. This Blackbird better do a lot of work for the test team to buy them the time they need to bring this second, or the second Megathron Navy down. If that
Yeah,
second Mega Navy goes down, the Hyperion may be able to tank as long as the Aneros is still alive.
yeah. So Test have the advantage in that they have that Blackbird, which as long as it's not under pressure, it can probably shut down one, even two of these Brudixes, I'd think, and the nearest can potentially tank one of at least probably the other Brudix and the Megathron Navy issue for the Hyperion. I think it's still going to come down to how well that Blackbird can get jams on the test enemy team, and if the NUs are able to move over and harass that Blackbird enough. It looks like we do have an NU sitting on one of those Blackbird, or one of the nearest, sorry.
Yeah, and he's been kind of screened by the command destroyers, but it seems like he may have gotten free. This Hyperion, oh, he's dipping in destruction now. He's pulling the armor back, but it's starting to get a little bit of bleed, which is not a great sign.
Yeah, I think if this Hyperion goes down, it is over for the test team. If they can clear out this Megathron Navy issue before the Hyperion goes down, I think there's a good chance that Hyperion can probably tank the free Brudix Navy issues with the Aneros repping him, as well as the Blackbird hopefully jamming out one or two of them.
I think one key thing to keep an eye on here is I'm looking at the overlay, and that Hyperion is getting some nuke pressure. It's a little hard to tell how much, but that could be slowing down his local reps, which may have caused him to drop there. And that is the DPS for the test team. I don't think they're going to have enough to punch through the Megathron Navy or the Brudix Navy issues, which is the core of the Castabouts team. Even though the Castabouts team does not have Logi, they still have to go through a big chunk of Navy issue ship hit points, which have a lot more hit points than their conventional counterparts.
Yeah, a lot of the test support screeners are going to go down now because the Brudixes are now free to shoot those. So we're probably going to see free Havoc's Vengeance go down pretty soon here. He is tackling those Brudix Navy issues to stop them from moving over towards their Aneros or their Blackbird. But there he he just got a big rep there, but I think he's going to go down pretty soon.
Yep, and the Aneros is tackled, so he's now in a relatively stationary position. They have the option of running him down or trying to keep him away from the ships that he is supporting. And it looks like they have elected to go after the Skybreaker with their drone ball. Oh, he's not going to have a fun time once those catch up to him.
Yeah, it looks like the Skybreaker is trying to clear off some drones right now, but the Pontifex is tackled from the test side. He does have one of the NUs on top of him, and the two Brudix Navy issues and the Megathron Navy issue are now coming towards him. So I don't think that Pontifex is going to be long for this world. And that'll be all of the links gone from the test side.
Yep, and there it goes. The Aneros had to split reps between the Skybreaker and the Pontifex. Pontifex, the higher priority of the two, if you ask me, but it seems like a lot of focus was still paid to the Skybreaker. Possible slight mistake from the test team, but I might stand corrected. It looks like they will have the DPS to finish off this Enyo, but I don't think that is going to be the difference maker here. They really needed to kill this DPS core. And those Megathron Navy issues acting as bullet sponges, soaking up not just damage, but time. Very important time that the test team needed to focus on lowering the incoming damage so that their nearest could keep those Hyperions up. They were unable to do it, and at the end of the day, that's what cost them this match.
The Skybreaker is tackled down now, so he's going to die pretty soon. Just a Vengeance alive for DPS, so it is well and truly over for Test Alliance.
Yeah, it's entirely possible that Vengeance doesn't even have weapons fit. I have to go look. But not exactly known for its incredible DPS output.
He does have rocket launchers fit, so I mean he probably has 150 DPS. I think he was actually the person who finished off the NU that was tackling down the Aneros to clear the Castabouts NU off, but he is now tackled, so he is not going to live very long. And then I believe they will finish off the Aneros eventually.
Yeah, the Vengeance it's one of the tankiest ships in the game. I really, honestly, I love it. I love having Vengeances in my fleet when I'm FCing, but by itself can't really get a whole lot done. And there it goes. A wonderful explosion off that frigate. A valiant effort.
Oh man, seeing this British Navy should just charge after the Daenerys and actually tackle him is pretty crazy. That British Navy is really fast.
And you can see the drone cloud moving over to the Daenerys. The Daenerys may have some local tank, but it is not going to be nearly enough to keep up with these British Navy issues. They have tremendous tracking. They are going to hit the Daenerys for full damage once they get on top of him, and should make short work of him once they get into range. Oh, dipping low into 10% armor, dipping into structure now. And there it goes, the structure just absolutely collapsing under the fire from these British Navy issues.
Yeah, so with that, it looks like Castabouts will take the spot on the podium, third place. We'll throw it back to BBP.
Welcome back, and with that, we have secured Castabouts as our third place team for the day. Test Alliance, unfortunately, being hull rushed into oblivion. We actually have the next match pretty much ready, so we're only going to chat about it for a couple minutes here, but we have brought the Basilisk here. Bazza, did you watch that last one?
I did, yeah. I saw those battleships on top of each other. It was a good fight. Good stuff. Good to see. I like the Castabouts typical sort of RP comp with the full Galente loadout as well. Good to see.
Awesome. And we did see a little bit in local. One of the test members said that their Blackbird only had 1 or 2 successful jams for the entire time. I asked for the kill mill, and they were nice enough to present it to us. Satonia, did you take a look at it and see what the jam layout was on it?
Yeah, he had one of each racial type. So he had 1 Minotaur, 1 Amar, 1 Caldari, 1 Galanti, and of course Castabout spawned an all Galanti team, so he only had one jammer for Galanti ships, which didn't work out too well.
Yeah, it is unfortunate, but it can happen. Castabouts basically brought one of the more interesting ways to counter ECM, which is by just having all of the same ships. However, we are going to be moving on to the next match pretty shortly here. I believe we're looking to get it started as fast as possible, as it is going to be a best of 3. Somebody was asking in Twitch chat what the rewards and what the prizes are for this. Each team, every time you win, you get a pretty rare skin, which you can always sell for however much people are willing to do it for. I believe the first place team captain gets 500 plex. Again, we're doing this every weekend, so it's not shockingly insane prizes like the trillions and trillions of ISK you can win for the AT, but for some free practice and some fun, it is definitely worth doing. Personally, I'm not getting paid anything, and therefore nobody else should either. And we do have our finals being Forsaken Empire versus Platinum Sensitivity, and this is a best of 3. So, Alec, what are you expecting here? It's a little bit different than it's been for the last couple matches.
Yeah, what you should expect here is the teams kind of iterating off of each other. There is a bit of a metagame to the best of 3, best of 5 scenario. You want to lead with your strong setups, but your opponent has also seen at least one setup that you've brought in the tournament so far. They're going to be aware of that, and then you kind of have to think, okay, if they're aware of that, what choices might they make? Then they're going to get at least one match in. For that second match, there's incredible amount of pressure on whoever lost the first match, and there's pressure on both teams to make the correct decisions about how the other team is going to modify their setup or bring a different setup to try to counter, or potentially anticipate that they're going to, that you think they're going to do a counter and try to counter what you think they might bring. You could mind game yourself endlessly here, but they're not going to have a ton of time, so they need to be decisive. And probably, I think both teams are going to have a plan going in at this point, at least for the first match, maybe second match. That third match, all bets are off. The teams could spin themselves around endlessly trying to theory or metagame what comp they're going to bring, but at the end of the day, I expect them to bring their strongest efforts.
And something a little different. Generally, for the last couple tournaments, when we have done these best of threes and these best of fives, we have what's called conquest bans, where if you fly a specific setup, you can no longer fly that again. We are not doing that because it makes things really, really complicated. And so therefore, the teams not only do not get to change bans, they also will never have ships they can't fly, which means in theory, you could just run it back and run the exact same comp over and over again. Baza, what do you think about that insane strategy I just decided of just flying the same thing over and over again? Is it a good idea?
I mean, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And a lot of times, if you find something that's just generally good against most things, is the quote-unquote meta comp, like I think we saw the Nighthawks being in the Alliance Open and in the feeder tournament a couple weeks ago. If you don't think your opponent is capable of finding something that can just outright beat it and counter it, then it can be a pretty reliable strategy. Yeah.
Yeah, we've kind of seen Platinum Sensitivity do that, right? They brought their triple Gila double Sleipnir Scimitar comp, and it's been working really well.
That's the thing. If you have one comp that you've got tons of practice in, unless that ship is banned off, there's a rock, paper, scissors element to Eve, but there's also the execution side of Eve. If you're bringing setup that you're just not as familiar with versus a setup that you know inside and out and you know how it plays against every other possible setup that it could come up against, that's an advantage in and of itself.
Awesome. Well, we are going to be swapping to the arena very, very soon here. So I'm just going to get a super quick round of predictions here just for the sake of doing it. And then let's have... You know what? I think, Baza, you and I are going to take this first one because that'll be super duper fun. And so, you know what? Let's not even do the predictions because everyone's here already, and then it's cheating and we know what's going on. So I think we'll just swap to the arena in about maybe 10 seconds or so here, maybe right now, as both teams are landing. And we got some interesting stuff going on here, which is always exciting. So we do have Forsaken Empire bringing a Golem, double Navy Scorpion, triple Orthrus Stork, Garmer, and 2 bursts, where Platinum Sensitivity is bringing something we've seen a couple more times here. But Baza, how do you think these two teams are going to go up against each other?
Well, I saw, I think it was Forsaken, no, it was Platinum Sensitivity bringing this Sleipnir comp earlier on. So, no changes there. They have seemed to just run it back from the one game I saw earlier. I wasn't able to catch most of the matches earlier. But this Golem and Navy Scorpion comp, we played against it a couple times in scrims against other teams, and it has seemed pretty strong, to be honest. The sheer HP bars of these Golem and Navy Scorpion is just insane. They're so hard to whittle through. And obviously, if they're cruise fit, they can apply it anywhere in the arena. I don't know if they are cruise fit. I haven't checked yet.
They are rapid heavy fit, and they are also warped in at 0, so there's no getting away from them, just from the positioning they're in.
Anyway, links go up, signaling the start of this match, and we're underway. So, previously we saw these Sleipnirs burn in, but I'm not sure if they're going to want to do that. I suppose if they're rapid heavy fit, they're not going to be able to mitigate it by keeping range, so they still just want to sort of optimize their own performance here, as we do see these Sleipnirs, Swipples, burning in. The Gilas holding steady because they don't really need to be up there up close and personal and get tackled down.
Yeah, Mark Bridges actually did burn in. Oh yeah, Manticore dies, and Mark Bridges burns in, and he's actually getting just destroyed through his armor right now, and I don't know if he's actually going to be able to live. If he can live long enough for the reloads to hit, he might survive here, but he's in low structure already, and he's down.
Yeah, so those rapid heavy 3 battleships are just absolutely melting. Of course, the Orthrus is probably pumping out some decent damage too. No issues with application there. This Orthrus of Enoch is finally taken down. He's acknowledged as a threat. Goodness me, this is an absolute massacre. The 2 bursts down as well on the side of Forsaken Empire.
Yeah, Forsaken Empire is trying to clip through this Sleipnir, hopefully
Second Sleipnir.
for their sake. Yeah, if they can get him down, I mean, they should be hitting reload any time here, though, so the Sleipnir might actually survive, and it looks like he's kind of pulling back here. That Scimitar and his ASB doing God's work, where the Orthrus does drop on the Platinum Sensitivity, or Forsaken Empire's team, so lots of damage coming out from both sides here, but I think they have hit reload on Forsaken Empire, so we're going to see that might actually cost them this match.
Yeah, it's an absolute bloodbath. I mean, this Scimitar being alive and the 2 bursts being dead, this Orthrus is going to go down pretty much, and he does go down very, very quickly, and this Scimitar is still holding under reps. The more of those Orthrus they can kill, now all 3 dead, less damage obviously being applied to that Sleipnir, so he's still holding a pretty comfy 100% shields, and now they're going to switch over to these battleships as they're the only damage really left, but with no damage coming on Sleipnir, I guess they're on reload, so they're going to have to just sort of sit tight and hope their HP bar is girthy enough for the time being.
Yeah, I'm seeing a little bit of damage on this Scimitar. I'm kind of wondering, it looks like the reload has hit. I'm seeing some missiles coming out onto the Scimitar on the Platinum Sensitivity side. So I don't know if he can actually tank the rapid heavy damage here.
Yeah, I don't think he can tank it. I think he's cycling his ASP as hard as he can, and he's praying, but it's not enough. But they've identified they need to kill that Scimitar, and it'll sort of save them time in the long run. Now they're probably going to switch back to the Sleipnir, who may still be on reload, I'm not sure. But this Scorpion Navy of Toady is also going down, so there's only going to be the Scorpion Navy and the 1 Golem left. Against these 3 Gilas and the 3 Svipples, so I'm not sure how this is still anyone's game, really.
Yeah, it looks like the Sleipnir did actually get his reload off at the last second, but he was only able to get 1 boost off before dropping here, where Toady is now dropping into low structure, but we're seeing that battleship structure, even though they're not structure tanking, very strong here, and he's actually getting a lot of damage off onto this Gila. I do believe the Scorpion Navy is going to drop first, but that was a lot of, he even got a couple shots off, and this Gila's dropping really, really fast here.
Yeah, I think this game could actually end in a 100-100 draw. I have no idea who is going to win here. These ships are absolutely dropping like flies.
Yeah,
now
I mean,
the Stork's going down. They want to clear the links, I guess. It could be. I've just seen a link cycle coming out, though. I've just seen a link cycle come out, so it's possible he just managed to get that cycle of like shield resist and shield HP off before going down. That might make a big difference. No other link ships on the field, so.
And it might. And also, I think we're seeing the rapid heavy reload hit again here because there's no damage coming out once again from the Forsaken Empire side.
But I mean, last time around they were just taking aggro on that first Scorpion Navy, and they managed to get their heavy missiles firing again about halfway through. And I mean, there's even less DPS on the side now with the Gila and the Sleipnir both gone this time. So I think this is starting to swing towards the side of Forsaken Empire. I'm not sure there's enough damage left to kill through. I mean, these Golem and Scorpion Navy just have so much HP.
Yeah, I'm wondering, I think one of the Svipples is actually tackled off in the corner, but I think you need to get all 3 Svipples on that Scorpion Navy and just pumping as much damage as you can. The reload has hit, and this Gila just drops so fast, and I'm guessing they're about to take the other one down. This is a really interesting way of doing it. We don't usually see rapid heavy golems, but apparently they do a ton of DPS here.
Yeah, it seems so. I mean, these 3 battleships, I think you were talking a little bit earlier about battleships versus battlecruiser sort of cores and mainline DPS ships, and I think the Scorpion Navy issue is probably one of the strongest just as like a pure stat stick for like mainline ships that combine, getting the most hit points and the most DPS in one hull for the point value. The Scorpion Navy issue is insanely strong.
Yeah, and we're seeing it here. I mean, he tanked all of that damage. They tanked all that damage, and he was, still sitting there at about 30%, but he's in optimal shield region now, and we're seeing the Svipples drop too. Rapid Heavies just apply to everything. The Golem does have a target painter, which is a bonus. Wind Jackal is giving good fights out in local, and it's not. It's over. Like we could pretend that it's not. But was there something that Platinum Sensitivity could have done differently here? I don't know. It's kind of just a really weird setup that I personally wasn't expecting to see.
Yeah, I just think rapid heavy missiles in particular are sort of really kind of a binary comp. Like if you come up against other battleships, you can't really you can have difficulty bursting through them in one reload, and then your overall DPS is just lower than going cruisers or torps. But if you come up against like Sleipnirs, where they don't have a huge amount of sort of buffer HP, and if you can kill them like before they can get a reload cycle, and just cycle through them, cycle all your full volley onto them, and then reload and take them down one at a time. The rapid heavy missile has a really good matchup there, so it's kind of a binary setup, I feel. It's just sort of unlucky to come up against this comp, but yeah, I mean, like I said, the Golem and 2 Scorpion Navies has proved really, really strong in practices so far that I've been in.
All right, and we're going to send it back to ourselves, and they're going to have some things to think about, but they have a new match coming up real soon here. And welcome back after that first of the best of 3 matches, with Platinum Sensitivity kind of barely losing to Forsaken Empire. But, I've been keeping an eye on Twitch chat, and there's a lot of frothing going on about Rapid Heavy Golems, which I can confirm that all of these ships on Forsaken Empire side were, in fact, Rapid Heavies. So, Satonia, let's lay this to rest. Are Rapid Heavies on a Golem good?
They can be. I mean, they're definitely good on Scorpion Navy issues, and I think that the Golem there brings a lot of utility that you want on your side. So the Golem gets the 10% bonus to target painter strength per level, so it has a really strong target painter, which is going to help not only itself, but all of the other Scorpion Navy issues apply pretty well. You also have the fact that, it has 4 utility high slots as well, so it can do you can do a ton of stuff with it. Like you can put an energy transfer on it to, I don't know, I wasn't paying attention to the battleships too much, but they could circle jerk around, right, with an energy transfer on each, and then the Golem can also have things like smart bombs to clear drones off. It can have heavy energy neutralizers. So I think Rapid Heavy Golems can work. I think some people are like triggered because they weren't using cruise missiles instead of Rapid Heavies, but I think there's still good reasons to use Rapid Heavies on a Golem.
Yeah, looking at the ship bonuses, Golems do have a damage bonus to all missile types that they can use. They just have application bonuses for the other stuff, and range bonuses. So, the Golems did not have quite as far range as you'd expect, but they also work the Scorpion Navy and Golems in at 0. So I think that this was do you think that Platinum Sensitivity got countered here? I guess is a good question, Alex.
Well, it's certainly a very challenging setup to fight against. The projection is tremendous. The application to smaller targets is tremendous. I feel like if you're running anything but another battleship comp, you're going to have a real tough time struggling against that Forsaken Empire comp. And, especially if they're going to put Rapid Heavies on their Golem instead of torpedoes, which I would argue would maybe apply to smaller ships less, but still given the painter bonus and the application bonuses, I think it'd be a better use of the ship. If you don't have a really strong tank to last through those clips, which is really what battleships are going to bring to the table, or super tanky command ships, you're going to have a real rough time. And there's no point in tackling them because they don't need to go anywhere, which means all of the points that your opponent is spending on tackle and all the mid slots they're spending on scrams and webs and all that stuff, totally pointless. So it actually creates a lot of value for you to have a setup that works that way.
And Baza, we actually talked to just a little bit about it right before this happened, where I said, hey, like, what if you just run the same comp over and over and over again? Well, we just saw Platinum Sensitivity run the same setup for every match that they've done today. They won the first 2, and then they lost. Do you think that maybe it wasn't a good idea to just do the same thing every time? Like, did Forsaken Empire prepare for this, or did they just get lucky?
Yeah, I think hindsight is 20/20. Having said that, I saw the first match of Platinum Sensitivity against Darkside where they ran the Sleipnirs. I didn't see the second match against Test, but hearing you say they ran it twice, I think it's fairly expected that Forsaken Empire said, well, let's just counter it and see what happens. And those Rapid Heavy Missile comp, I think it's a really strong counter to the Sleipnirs. You just burst through them one by one, and you just once you're basically guaranteed to kill a Sleipnir before you lose one of your battleships, just because of how much health the battleships have. And once you kill a Sleipnir, the one remaining Sleipnir can't then 1v3 against the 3 battleships, so he just dies as well. And then all your Gilas slowly die. as we saw. So yeah, I feel like they probably should have switched it up then. But I mean, obviously, like I said, hindsight is, they found something that worked for the first couple matches. It didn't work this time. Now is definitely the time to switch it up.
Well, I don't know. Maybe here's the super big brain brain is just run it again, like run it 4 times.
Yeah, could be.
I think Forsaken Empire's got to feel good about running that setup again. Force Platinum Sensitivity to come up with the counter or pull out a comp that they haven't used because maybe they haven't seen Battleship set up like this before or run into it. I assume they'll have something prepared for it, but maybe it's not as practiced as some of the other comps they've run. So, honestly, if I'm the Forsaken Empire, I'm maybe making a slight tweak to the support wing, but I'm keeping that fleet mostly the same.
Yeah, it's an interesting idea. I love the Windjackal, who is one of the members of Forsaken Empire, saying, "I'm okay with people calling me stupid for placing rapid heavies on a golem." Guess that's kind of his way of saying, "Hey, like, yeah, you may think it's dumb, but we just won, so what are you gonna do about it?" Yeah, it's that's at the end of the day, that's kind of the deal. Like, you can call someone bad or dumb or whatever, but hey, they won, so big high fives all around. That being said, these teams are facing one of the most stressful things you ever have to do in a tournament, which is back-to-back games. I believe we're trying to get the next match started within less than 10 minutes here, which is pretty rough for them. I think, Satonia, you've been in a situation before. We love to talk about this, but what's it like being thrown straight back into it?
It's really rough, especially when you're playing in the 18, the losers bracket, which Hydra almost always are, right? I remember the grueling AT15 when we got put into the losers bracket by Templars on the first day, and we had to play 9 best of 1s just to get back into the to the last day, and then you have to like play like almost like 7. You can play like up to 8 matches on that day.
Yeah, it's pretty rough. Oh, sorry. What's up, Alex?
No, I was just saying, oh my god, that's brutal.
Yeah, the losers bracket is definitely not fun, so you should definitely win. It definitely helps.
Yeah, pro tip on how to do good in the Alliance tournament is don't lose. But really, really, really don't lose, because
don't lose twice.
Don't lose twice. Definitely don't lose twice, but even losing once, it's exhausting. There's always the joke where it's like, oh yeah, if you lose on purpose, you can win more skins, but the reality is that these games are kind of exhausting to play. I've had to do both the winners bracket and the losers bracket before, and it sucks.
You don't want the skins. It takes years off your real life expectancy, like playing all those extra matches. You make sure you get a couple billion-esque, but you're going to die at 60 from high blood pressure or something. Yeah. It's not going to work out in the long run. It's not worth it. You're going to have a heart attack.
Yeah, it's an adventure for sure. But like I said, when it gets into these best of 3s, it's even worse. Luckily, the teams don't have to worry about picks and bans, which does make it a little bit easier because they don't have to worry about someone banning out a setup and then being told, hey, remember that amazing plan we had? Yeah, we can't do that anymore. But even still, we're getting into the fun meta of a best of 3 where Platinum Sensitivity has to figure out something to do against Forsaken Empire. And we're going to see what they bring in just a little bit here, but do we have any super awesome predictions, just team comp wise, not who's going to win this, but I'm kind of curious. Like, Alex, what do you think? What do you think is going to happen?
I mean, I kind of gave my thing. I think Forsaken Empire bring the same setup, man. It's tremendous. It kind of puts a lot of pressure on your opponent to come up with a counter because they need to win this match. If they don't win this match, their day is over. So it puts a lot of pressure on them to pick the right call, and they can potentially outthink themselves or bring a setup they're not quite used to. For Platinum Sensitivity, I would expect them to do something with battleships or to bring their tankiest command ship setup. I think it's going to be one of the two things.
And I'm just going to go down the line. Satonia, what's some sweet meta predictions right here?
Oh, I really hope it goes to 3 games, just so we can get more action. But I think Platinum Sensitivity are gonna bring something different. I don't know what Forsaken Empire are going to bring, but it'd be cool to see Platinum bring something different because they've bought the same comp 3 times today. So, and they've flown it very, very well all 3 times. So it would be nice to see them in something new.
Yeah, it would be kind of cool. I don't know. I personally, like, from a meta perspective, I love the idea of just bringing the exact same thing every single time. Which something else to think about. I believe both of these teams are in the actual AT, correct? Or is Forsaken Empire in it?
Yeah, they're in it,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah, so we might have some weird stuff going on where there's like some overarching, like, we don't care about this weekend. You know, when you think about it, Platinum Sensitivity has been kind of smart. They've brought the same thing every single match, which means anybody who's, say, looking at them, Exodus, who I know their team captain is in Twitch chat, they're not getting any intel on them at all. At the end of the day, like, yeah, this is super cool, and obviously winning the Opens is the most important thing, but also winning AT matches is kind of interesting too. So, you know, is Platinum Sensitivity doing some like really important metagame play right now?
Yeah, you don't really want to shoot your shot too early on showing everything you've got on some one of, 8 or however many practice weekends and show all your best comps and all your spicy matchup counters, etc. And then you get to the AT and there's no cards left up your sleeve. You reach for your ace and you find nothing, just a bit of dust. Yeah, so I mean, obviously hiding comps, only showing one comp at a time for the whole weekend is beneficial in some ways, unless you are Platinum Sensitivity, who now need to pull something else out or risk just getting countered by the same team they just lost to. Sort of a back up against the wall kind of situation.
Yeah, it is interesting to think about. You know, best of 3, down 1, you got to do something or you're out. I also, obviously, I'm with Setonian thinking that I hope Platinum Sensitivity wins just because more matches is always fun. But that being said, the teams have officially entered local, which means shortly they will be warping in and we will begin starting the match. So before they show up, before we get to see what they have, I want predictions. We're going to get it done this time. I believe in it. Alex, what are we thinking?
I'm going for Forsaken Empire with this one.
All right, Alex is a hater and doesn't want to see 3 matches. Setonia, what do you got?
I'm gonna go with Platinum Sensitivity, I guess, but Forsaken Empire definitely strong. This is really going to be a really close series, I think.
And Baza, what are we doing?
Oh yeah, go Platinum. Give us 3 matches.
Awesome, and I'm hoping on Platinum too, mostly because I want to see 3 matches, but also because Mark Bridges seems like a pretty cool guy. We'll be seeing them coming in shortly here, which means we're going to find out the real answer of what we're all wanting to know is, did Platinum Sensitivity bring a different setup? I'm kind of hoping they didn't, just because I think it'd be really, really funny to just see the same thing 4 matches in a row and see if they can just, adjust their piloting or get lucky here. But unfortunately, we don't know yet. And I'm sitting here and I'm like, I need to know.
Well, we'll say this. You got the comps for both teams, but you also got Windjackal's confidence in Twitch chat, and I think that speaks volumes.
That is true. You know what?
He's firmly behind that rapid heavy missile golem choice.
Yeah, he's defending it.
Says. Yeah.
It's like, you're all wrong. You have no idea what you're talking about. I'm extremely smart. You know, the rapid heavy golem is the most powerful of all spaceships.
And what if he's
You can't prove him wrong unless you beat him.
Yeah, exactly. And right now, who could say?
I mean, shit talking after a match is just kind of bad mannered and rude and stuff, but shit talking before a match and then winning, that's Chad. I like it. And he's confident. He's in Twitch chat while he's about to fly this match, and everyone's panicking, setting up their shit, and he's like, nah, I'm just going to hop on Twitch chat and tell everyone that they're stupid, and my golem is amazing, and fair play.
Yeah, the old wrestling saying.
I thought this wasn't Tishu. This was Forsaken Empire, though, right?
It's not trash talking if you can back it up.
That's true. Okay, they've landed. I'm super pumped. Setonia and Baza, you're up because I get to decide things because I'm in charge. Not really.
All right, so we got Platinum Sensitivity in once again. The Sleipnirs, the Scimitar, the 3 Gilas, the 3 Spitballs, the Manticore. We've seen that before. It lost last time. Could it win this time? Quite possibly. Who knows? we will very shortly. Suetonia, what have Forsaken Empire brought this time out?
So Forsaken Empire have changed things up. They brought the double Eos, triple Ishtar, Nurgle, Pontifex, double Deacon, Hyena comp that they brought against Castabouts and won with. It'll be interesting to see what those Gila drones go for, because in the other 2 games that they've won, they headshotted the Hyena straight away. So the Hyenas and the Deacons are definitely going to have to be on the ball, I think.
Yeah, the Hyena's a really important ship in this drone comp. It helps all those sentries apply, assuming they are going to fly sentries, or of course the heavy drones if they choose those instead. So yeah, headshot in the Hyena, a pretty strong strategy here, and those Gila's definitely capable of doing so. 3 of them, and the 3 Swiftles as well. So it's going to be very, very difficult for this Hyena to stay away from all of those missiles and drones and Swiftles rushing towards him to try and take him out. Yeah, let's see how it goes. 5 seconds till the match starts. Link's going up.
Yeah, these are ham Gilas, so I assume that they are probably going to try and brawl in. Although I remember fighting against these drone cloud comps. One of a really good strategy you can do when you're primary is run to the MGDU beacons and blink around.
Yeah, I can see we've got some Republic Fleet Berserkers rushing in, being aggroed onto. I think they're going onto the Scimitar at the back, maybe.
Yeah.
No, I'm not sure where they're going actually.
It looks like they're going for a sweeple here of Chell Dixon.
Oh, yeah, they are. Yeah, you're correct. He was in the middle of a drone swarm. I couldn't quite see him. Meanwhile, this Sleipnir of Kentlar is taking some damage, but yeah, seems to be a little bit of drone switching here. I think it's just acolytes from a Ishtar maybe on him, or the Pontifex, but he's not too bothered. The Ishtar of Mariam, the Hyena is indeed the primary though, of course. As we were talking about before the match, Hyena taking big chunks of damage. These Deacons are going to be working overtime to try and keep him alive, but there's just so much stuff swarming on top of them. With these 3 Swiftles and the 3 Gilas as well firing from range. But the Swiftle does go down. So that first Swiftle taken down, so it eases things up a little bit for this Hyena, and he's repped up back to full armor by these Deacons.
Although he is getting chunked in, he did get chunked into structure there just a second ago. So I mean, the Gila drones do have the potential of going for his armor, but it looks like we're seeing a bit of a target swap maybe, because the Hyena isn't taking damage anymore.
Yeah, it's a bit of a scary time, but the Hyena does seem to sort of be at the front of the pack of his team and sort of keeping everyone at range behind him, but not himself at too much threat, except for these Gila drones chasing after him at the moment. So the Deacon's also on top of him, just repping him up, keeping him pretty healthy. And this second Swiftple of Massa 10 now taking chunks of damage as well. But this Eos of Anna Clavane, they've got on top of him. I think these Sleipnirs are on top of him, and they're trying to melt him down. And these Deacons obviously preoccupied keeping this Hyena so crucially important to the comp, trying to keep him alive. The Eos is sort of taking a backburner at the moment. He's pretty tanky, but he is still taking chunks. The Hyena does go down. The Deacons can't hold him.
Scimitar taking a lot of damage now though. The Scimitar actually has been webbed. It has been tackled by that Nurgle.
Yeah, so I mean, we saw this in the literally triggered matches last week, and in the feeders, they used, I think they're the only team to use the Nurgle and just park it on top of a Logi and make team respond. That Scimitar does actually go down in absolute record time, to be honest. Absolutely melted.
Yeah, Platinum Sensitivity do actually have these 2 Eoses tackled down next to each other, so they do have the Eoses tackled here. But it looks like the Eos of Anna Clavin is actually not taking that much damage.
Yeah, these Deacons are still sort of dealing with these Gila drones, I think. They're just sort of trying to rep each other and keep them alive from these Gilas. But now they've switched onto the Sleipnir. Kent Larquist taking chunks. He's going to be cycling his ASP. He's going to be trying to stay alive. But this drone swarm, obviously with these 3 Ishtars and 2 Eos all still alive, there's going to be a huge amount of drones just absolutely nibbling away at him. I should say nibbling, chomping.
Yeah, it looks like he's probably going to go down before Anna.
Yeah, that's taking pretty big bites out of him. He goes down. This Deacon of Riven Thoris is in low armor now, and he goes down as well. So this other Deacon couldn't keep him up. Anna Clavane is still low armor as well.
So this other Deacon is now going to die because of the Seabull that's going after him and the Gila drones on him, and he has no Deacon to rep him. So we are going to see the Deacons go down, but at the same time, Mark Bridges' Sleipnir is about to go down, and I think he's definitely going to drop before Anna, even with no Logi on Anna.
Yeah, this has turned into an absolute brawl. They tried to string them out a little bit with the Hyena at the front. Mark Bridges goes down as well. Yes, they tried stringing them out. They tried kiting a little bit, but once the Hyena goes down, everything just gets on top of each other, and it's just an absolute blast fest of damage on top of damage. So what's left? Eos and 3 Ishtars against the 3 Gilas. The Manticore notably still alive as well, so he's going to keep pumping out damage on everything that's tackled.
The Manticore has been tackled by the Nurgle though, so I imagine
Yeah.
the Nurgle is going to be finishing him up, cleaning him up here pretty quickly. And Gila of Nosoko is tackled here in the middle, so he's probably going to go down soon. But Windjackal is actually still taking a lot of damage. Like free ham Gilas, a super on a Manticore is still actually quite a lot of damage.
Yeah, although this Manticle's not long for this world. I mean, you said the Nurgle went from that's a good pickup and a good call by the Nurgle. He's saying, don't worry about the Manticore, I'll go and deal with him. And that Gila does go down as well. So now it's just 2 Gilas in the Svipple, so I feel like it's not going to be much left in this match for Platinum Sensitivity.
Yeah, I think they will probably be able to take down Windjackal, the team captain here, but I don't think there's any way they're going to be able to clean out these 3 Ishtars.
Yep. So that is looking to be 2-0 in this final for Forsaken Empire. So we're sadly not going to get the full 3 matches. But congratulations to them anyway for putting on a good show. They didn't bring the same comp again. They switched it up again, which is obviously hard to predict. Maybe, goodness me, these 2 clan tags are so confusing for me. Maybe Platinum Sensitivity thought they were going to bring the SNIs again and tried to bring the drone comp to counter it, but they said no, we're going to switch it up, we're going to bring EOSs again.
I think Windjackal might actually live. I don't know. He's in like half
There's
structure.
not enough damage left. Yeah, I mean, he's taking chunks, but I mean, this Gila is also taking pretty heavy damage. Those drones are on him. They're catching up to him. I can see him running away from him. There's maybe 20 of those heavy drones just running after him.
Yeah, Gila is not long for this world.
He's running. And the heavy drones are like doing that thing where they fly after him and then shoot once and then stop and get a bit confused and then take like a couple seconds to reboot and go after him again. So they're not applying the maximum possible damage. I think one of the drone ships has recalled them, presumably to send out
There's a
some mediums.
Ponty that has just got a scram on him though, so he's definitely going to
Now
die.
he's going to die. He's going to die. But Windjackal, is he going to kill Windjackal? That's the real question. He's so low. They're both so low. They're both so low. Windjackal goes down. He got him. He finally got him. That's a Pyrrhic victory, I think, for that Gila. Mission accomplished. And now it's just the Svipple.
Yeah, the Sipple is of course webbed and already has 1 set of acolytes on him. The rest of the drones
Joined
coming
by
over.
many more. The drone swarm has arrived, and he's gone, just like that. So yeah, congrats to Forsaken Empire, 2-0. Good job. So yeah, with that we'll send it back to Bart and ourselves.
And with that, we finish up weekend 2 of the Alliance Tournament 17 Open Series with Forsaken Empire 2-0ing. I already forgot what their team name was because they lost. No, Platinum Sensitivity. Platinum Sensitivity. No, they tried. You know what? Platinum Sensitivity showed us the same comp every single time. You got to put some respect for that. Unfortunately, Forsaken Empire had their number. We are going to probably go raid some unsuspecting EVE streamers, but before we do that, I want to give everybody a chance to say something, Twitch clip worthy. So, Alex, any shout outs, anything like that you want to give to everyone?
Yeah, I want to give a shout out to both the teams that made the finals. Tremendous matches. Forsaken Empire and Platinum Sensitivity both put forth a tremendous effort. the 2-0 score does not belie how close those matches were. And I also want to give a shout out to all of our viewers in Twitch chat. We've been consistently over 250 for the majority of this broadcast. And in celebration of the drone comp that won, I am giving away a Vexer skin code to the first person that enters it. Enjoy.
Oh wow, that's a that's a fun way to do that. All right, good job, Vexer skin code.
Thanks, yeah.
All right, yeah, it's like, hey, whoever's fastest at copy pasting this gets some kind of skin. Nice.
That's the partner skin code from Declarations of War, my podcast, declarationsofwar.com. I've got a couple of them that I haven't figured out how to give away yet, so might as well.
Nice. All right. Biohazard has been super helpful running all of our stream backend stuff. So big shout out to him. Do you have anything you want to say, or do you want to keep yourself hiding? He says his mic is muted and they can't hear you. So fantastic, extremely good. General, always a pleasure keeping tournaments running for several years now. Best referee ever.
You're love awesome. Being here, man. Thank you very much for the love.
And Satonia, anything you got?
Not particularly, other than like really cringy Eve pickup lines.
Give us one. Give us one. Come on.
Oh man, you're really putting me on the spot here. I'll tell you a really terrible one that I heard recently.
Go for it.
It's do you like roaming down south? Because I could give your bed a wicked creak.
Oh, yeah. I love it.
Oh.
Perfect. And Baza, thank you for showing up for the last couple matches. Super fantastic to have you here. Heard you were doing some intense tournament practice earlier today, so
yeah,
good to see you.
Yeah, I guess thank you, Bart, for standing in while Bay, of course, Biohazard as well. While Bay and Ithaca weren't here to do the usual clicking of stuff that they do and talking. So yeah, you guys filling in to make sure this is possible, and of course the insane enthusiasm from all the teams. I think first week there was 10 teams that signed up, and then this week there was like 16 or something. So we've got an overflow of teams. So the teams for next week are all already locked in. So next week we're going to have like 50 teams apply, and we're going to be
basically running another Alliance tournament.
Yeah. Like there's so much enthusiasm. So yeah, thanks for turning up, everyone. It's good to see you. Good to watch the matches. More spaceship explosions is always good.
That is definitely the truth. Thanks for showing up. Something viewers like you. Archie told me to say like and subscribe. I don't know why. I don't think you guys get anything besides our love, which, to be fair, is worth more than any ship skin or any Plex. And I think we're going to raid someone.
We are indeed.
Awesome. So we're going to see you guys next weekend. I may or may not be there. Hopefully not, for everyone's sake. And Ithaca will take back over. But with that, we are signing out.
See you later.